Sandra all the time is here with the cold heart through. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama, call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. They always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra. And they start robbing, they calling Sandra. And if the rooster fly in the kitchen, they calling Sandra. And when they want to get the money, they calling Sandra.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing? Allow me one quick second to get our Instagram feed up. We know that yesterday the Instagram numbers were very, very strong. Means a lot of people are paying attention to the latest. So good morning to everyone. I think we missed each other. We weren't here Thursday, Friday. Did a short show yesterday with the storm obviously on its way. It's important for us to keep up with all of the latest news and honestly, just to be here for each other. I mean, there's so much to be said for that. I know a lot of you actually look forward to listening to the program every single morning. I went to Miami for a few days, and even at Cheesecake Factory, I had somebody say, Sandy, are you going to be on air tomorrow? So here we are, live and direct. So good morning to all of our radio listeners at Bobo 89.1 FM. And of course, everybody in social media, we've got you covered YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So we're going to kick off the show this morning. We'll go ahead and jump right into it. We're obviously going to be talking about Hurricane Beryl. We've got some guests who are joining us. So we have Ms. Danny Coleman, who is Director of Hazard Management. Good morning, Ms. Danny. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Andy. And a very good morning to you and all your listeners as well. Good to be here.
Yeah,
Thank you for inviting
thank you
us.
so much. And we also have Director General of the Cayman Islands National Weather Service, none other than Mr. John Tibbetts himself. Good morning, sir. How are you? Uh-oh, I think you had yourself muted. Try that again. Oh, no, I'm not hearing you. Just check that audio connection for me. Now I do see that you're muted at the top, so there's a little area there that should be unmute mic. Let me see if I can do it for you. Can I do it? No, you have to unmute it yourself. All right, so good morning. We've got lots of messages that are coming in this morning, so we'll definitely be updating all of you on businesses that are sending messages to us because they want to get it out as quickly as possible. But let's go ahead and dive right in this morning. This is quite a storm, Category 5 now. Went from a 4 yesterday morning to 5. So, John, let's start with you. What is the storm doing as of this morning?
Well, first of all, good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. I apologize on that. Okay, at 7 a.m. this morning, Hurricane Beryl, Category 5, it was located at 15 north, 67.9 west. That's about 625 miles east-southeast of Kingston, Jamaica, 938 miles east-southeast of Grand Cayman. The motion is west-northwest at 22 miles per hour. Maximum sustained winds at 165 miles per hour.
Wow. And, we're still a couple days out from it being, the closest it will get to us. What's the current predictions saying in terms of that?
Okay. The storm is expected to continue to move west-northwest and pass approximately 62 miles to the south of Grand Cayman, somewhere around 5 a.m. Thursday morning. We're expected tropical storm force winds across the entire Cayman Islands, starting first in the Sister Islands 10, 11 p.m. Wednesday night, and then about 1 a.m. Thursday morning. Tropical storm force winds should be ceasing at about 4 to 5 a.m. Sister Islands, 11 a.m. Grand Cayman. And in terms of the wind speeds, 45 to 55 miles per hour over Grand Cayman and 40 to 45 miles over the Sister Islands.
Wow. Okay. So thankfully not any closer predicted, but these storms still have within a 24-hour window some movement, right? So it's possible it could get a little bit closer than that.
There's a lot can go on with the system still. The system can move. The system can expand. So all kinds of things are possible. Yesterday, when some of the scenarios were running through, for the most part, a lot of them didn't have the Sister Islands having been impacted by the tropical storm force winds. And now they are. I will say this, when we look at the rainfall predictions and what have you, the rainfall predictions are being impacted, as it were, by the spiral bands wrapping around it. All right. And if they're going to get the spiral bands in the Sister Islands as is being forecast, then they're going to get the tropical storm force conditions. No question about that.
All right. So we're going to continue, obviously, folks, to keep an eye on this storm very, very closely. Now, let's talk about, Danny, from the hazard management perspective, what preparations are underway for especially Grand Cayman, but all of the Sister Islands, really.
Thank you, Sandy. Again, a lot's been going on over the last couple of days. And what we tend to do here is obviously go all out to make sure we're ready for anything. I think the worst thing you can do is get caught off guard. So what we've been doing since, I guess it was Saturday, Sunday, is making sure all our sort of procedures are ready to go. We've been working very closely with NRA and PWD with the plywood and the sand locations, trying to get that, obviously communities involved and prepared for that. Any kind of flooding, working with those areas that are most vulnerable, because obviously we do a lot of mapping here at Hazard Management, and we can see from the last storms what are the most flood prone areas. So working directly with them and the MPs associated with that, with those communities. Obviously there's a lot of comms going out. You've seen a lot of that but just so many things going on. I mean, today we've got meetings with the executive, we've got meetings with the National Emergency Operations Centre likely to activate at some point today. Those meetings have already been had over the last few days, assessment meetings, but it looks like we'll be going into a bit more of a dynamic routine at some point today. We're also getting the shelters ready. Of course, a lot of work goes into the shelters and triaging which shelters will be open. If the threat is of such, we obviously, it's proportionality as to which shelters we open. If it's a very big storm, then we open all. If it's not such a big storm, then we open probably one per district. But all that's being worked out. We're getting restocked in some of those shelters, getting the teams on standby, and the CERTs are going to be working with us, the community emergency response teams, on wellness checks and so forth today. So lots going on. Lots going on already, and we're still a day to go, a day and a half to go. But you have to be ready for these storms.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about NEOC and exactly what that is. I think some people have heard the name by now, but they don't quite understand, what that group of individuals is all about. So give us a little rundown.
Okay, so under the national structure, National Hazard Management Mechanism, we have various different bodies. So at the top we have the executive, which is co-chaired by the Governor and Premier, and holds all the cabinet ministers, leader of the opposition, Commissioner of Police and so forth, District Commissioner from the Sister Islands. Then we have what we call a strategic coordination group, which kind of deals with the sort of middle range policy decisions and making sure that we're looking at from a strategic level. And then at NEOC, which is called the National Emergency Operations Centre, is a sort of tactical level, the doers, getting things done. So upstairs we'll say what we need to get done, and then downstairs in the NEOC we figure out how we do that and what we implement and make sure that those activities are taking place. So very much an operational tactical side of things. But again, it's a very big setup. We have 19 emergency support teams. They run from things like mental health to resource support, evacuation, medical relief, support services, business continuity. There's so many different players in that setup. And again, that looks like it'll be going some point today, but ready for full activation by tomorrow. It's just a very, we've obviously worked the system quite well during COVID, during fires, other tropical storms, but we continue to try and make it more effective and streamline it to a certain extent.
All right, good. So basically all hands on deck in terms of preparing for Hurricane Beryl and the impact that it will have in the Cayman Islands. John, this storm has broken all sorts of records. I mean, from when I heard about it, I'm thinking, is it July yet? Like, what's going on here? So let's talk a little bit about some of those records that were broken, and it continues to break records now that it's a Category 5.
Certainly, it's rewriting the record books, as it were, and it is behaving extremely unusual to a certain extent. When we're looking at the sea surface temperatures which feed the storm, they're actually a lot higher out towards the Eastern Caribbean than they are towards the Western Caribbean, believe it or not. And that's something that's we're hoping that will play into the future of this storm. But the interesting part about it is that the Eastern Caribbean, we have, over the years, they've nicknamed it the hurricane graveyard, because usually the atmospheric conditions and what have you does not allow systems to develop in that area. So to see that this system went into that area and just basically blew up, as it were. And when the National Hurricane Center was not necessarily going for a storm to develop of this caliber in that particular area. I think the peak they were looking at one point was Cat 3 at one point, and now we're all the way up to Cat 5.
Yeah.
But one thing has stayed fairly constant has been that in the lower part or the end part of the forecast, the forecast that where it gets into the Northwest Caribbean, they've always stick with the plan that the forecast that it would weaken as it comes into our area. All right, and it's that in itself is a bit unusual, because generally speaking, the Northwest Caribbean is usually boiling hot. And so it's usually an area where storms come to develop, not necessarily die, as it were. But in this particular case, one, we've got a bit of cooler temperatures, and two, we've actually got quite a bit of wind shear across the Northwest Caribbean. The two put together causes the National Hurricane Center to, and all the weather models, to be honest with you, to call for the storm to weaken over the Northwest Caribbean.
Wow. Quite something for sure. And, all meteorologists are keeping an eye on this, saying that, hey, this is a sign of the times. Things have clearly changed, and not for the better. Warmer waters, climate change, global warming, all these things are contributing factors to some of what's happening with the severity of the storms, and not just the severity of storms, but even how soon they will develop. So lots of key factors here. So we've got phone lines are open, 936-2626. If you have any questions for our guests, feel free to, give us a call. I see lots of people, over 400 people already on the live stream. So good morning to all of you. Paul joining us from Bermuda. So good to see people from other islands also tuned in. So we know that Jamaica is obviously on alert as well. This morning we received, updates in terms of, okay, now we're under a hurricane watch. So can we walk through, John, the different, I know we have to do this every season because I always forget myself. There's like warnings, watches. What are the different, alerts that we need to be paying attention to from the perspective of a hurricane?
Okay, so the first step in that, as it were, is the alert. Yeah. The alert says basically you're going to be impacted in 72 hours. Okay, and then you go to the watch, which is 48 hours. And then the warning phase is 36 hours. All right. So for the record right now, Jamaica is under a warning, and we're under a watch. Okay. And sometime later on today is when we are expected to go under a warning. And this will be done in collaboration with Hazards Management Council, but also the National Hurricane Center.
Okay. All right. Very good. So again, folks, we're officially under a watch as of this morning. So, all that essentially means is the time is tightening, and your preparation time is obviously going to be less. So lots of people yesterday, Danny, were out getting their sandbags together. It was good to see that there was an organized effort in terms of that. Are we still able to get sandbags this morning, or today? What's the position with that?
Yeah, I mean, we've been working with the both the hardware shops as well as the supermarkets over the weekend to obviously prolong hours. So that was Monday, obviously, was bank holiday, but a number of them did open, and you will see prolonged hours opening probably today and tomorrow. Tomorrow, definitely today. Yes, we are strongly encouraging, obviously, people to sort of be as self-sufficient as possible. So getting the sandbags from the local hardware shops. We have the sand in various locations. And again, I can provide that list to you as to where those locations are. What we've had to do, based on the mapping that we've been doing over the last few weeks, is to really, to prioritize for the most vulnerable people out there. There's a lot of people in Round Dyke who really, really have been flooded out time and time again over the last few weeks. So we'll be working with Round Dyke and Washington Boulevard and Belford Estates and a few others to make sure that they definitely get the sandbags they need from the centralized stock. But yeah, strongly encouraging people to be just, get what they can, be it sandbags, tarpaulins, whatever they need, water, big water buckets, whatever they need to be prepared to make their life easier over the next couple of days. We really would love to see. Strongly encourage.
Right. And do we need to tell people how to properly use a sandbag? I mean, this might sound...
I think that's a great point, Sandy. No, it's funny. We actually had this conversation yesterday.
Yeah, because I wouldn't know what to do with one, to be honest.
Well, so one of the things we really strongly encourage is that the sand we're providing is quarry sand, so it does not impact the environment. We've seen already, beach erosion is bad enough in Cayman. The last thing we want to do is to add to that, especially when we're, potential storm surge and so forth. So do not really encourage people not to use beach sand. Come to the actual location points to use the quarry sand. We will be doing some messaging around how you dispose of sand afterwards, because of course, if places are, if there's sanitation issues, if by chance, we have flooding and the toilets overflow or whatever else, that sand will become contaminated, and you do not want to get that back into the source. So there'll be some messaging coming around about that, making sure that that does not go back anywhere near the beaches or anywhere really. We'll probably be working with Department of Environmental Health to make sure that's disposed of in a safe and sanitary manner. It's a great point.
That's a good point too, because I hadn't really, I kind of wondered, what do you do with it afterwards if you could reuse your sandbags? But that's a point. It depends on really what happens.
I guess you can, keep it for the season, because I don't think, we know we're going to have a busy season. As far as collection points go, I mean, again, these collection points, we are going to be having probably Regiment out there later on today helping. But if you can be self-sufficient, take your own spade, whatever else you need. Oh, thank you. You've got those locations up. Sand is going to be there. So we're also working with NRA in regards to the drainage, making sure that all the, the drains are cleared and the emergency pumps are in place. So really do encourage everyone to be as self-sufficient as possible, so that we can really focus on the most vulnerable and low-lying areas.
Yes, wonderful. And of course, we will be talking a little bit about self-sufficiency after our guests have left, because I am very, very surprised at how ill-prepared everyone has been so far. Sandbag tips, again, fill your bag 1/2 to 2/3 full with sand. Tie the bag at the top. Do not throw the sandbags. It stresses your bag and shoulders. Lift with your legs. So that's a good one. Walk on the sandbags to create a tight seal between each bag. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's it's almost just to make sure the sand is even out across the entire bag.
Yeah, once they're in place. So where would you, what's the ideal location that you'd actually be putting sandbags? You were going to put them like at the doors?
Or your doors, yeah.
Yeah.
Your doors, make sure you get your towels ready for your windows. It's all those kind of tips that really will help. A lot of old towels out will be needed. I think across Cayman over the next few days, towels and sandbags will be a really, really good plus to have in your kit. And even little things. I mean, we're talking about hurricane preparedness kits. It's obviously you need your own supplies, you need your family food, your water for 3 to 5 days and food for 3 to 5 days, your medication, your prescriptions, your, toys for the kids and so forth, looking after your pets. But it's also little things like, I know when we were deployed in BVI, trying to get the tire repair kits, because of course in the aftermath of any storm, you're going to have a lot of debris on the road. So, sourcing tire repair kits is going to be a really, really good addition to your hurricane supply kit, but it's got to be kind of tailored towards your own needs. So making sure you and your family work together to make sure your supply kit is ready to go for you, tailored to you. But again, time is running out. People really, really need to make sure it's happening today.
All right. We've got a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Christina. Good morning to your guest.
Good morning, my dear.
Just a quick question regarding the sand that they're actually given for the sandbags. That they say that it's not safe to be used back in our waters.
Well, it might not be. It depends on what happens with it. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. What's going to happen to the people if they're like on the ones that are living on the beaches that are using sandbags, and they should happen to burst? They're all going to wash back into the water. They're going to wash back in. So, I mean, some people might not be able to stop it. I mean, there might be where they can't stop the bikes and go.
Well, there might be certain things that are definitely out of our control, but I think that's caller.
What I'm saying. So I don't know why they would want to use that kind of material then if it's not safe. I would think that the sand on the beaches.
No. So let's back up. I think there's some confusion here about what she just said. So she said that we're not taking any sand from the beaches. It's not a matter of quarry sand versus beach sand being any safer. It's that we don't want to deplete the beach sand any more than we already have it depleted, because that's a different kind of sand, to be honest, right? So what contaminates the sand isn't where it's taken from. It's the fact that if you have storm waters rising, you might have sewage mixing with water and other things in that water that will get into the sandbags, that it's not going to be healthy. So that's why disposal of your sandbags in those conditions, you want to be very, very careful with.
Exactly.
Yeah, but maybe you might not be able to get up to the disposal, but if they're bursting already.
Yeah, I mean,
you've got to try your best. That's all you can do.
But yeah, there will be certain things that we can't control. But hey, it's a storm. There are things we can't control. So we gotta.
Yeah, you gotta go with the flow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's prepare everyone to be safe and everything else. All we can do is be prepared. That's pretty much all we can do. And I guess those that can go somewhere else to go, that they can actually, go somewhere else, we'd appreciate that too, because it's such a load on us that we can't handle it all either.
All right, my love. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
All right. 936-2626 is the telephone number. Wow. Yeah.
Sandy, I did see a little comment on the chat about the Bodden Town Church of, sorry, not Bodden Town.
Yes, I meant to, thank you so much. I meant to bring that one back up.
So the Cubans are currently located in the Bodden Town Civic Center. Yeah. So that's not one of our Class A shelters.
Mm-hmm.
So the chances are, again, that's not depleting from any stock. That's a Class B shelter. So if we open, well, we obviously going to open shelters this week. It very much depends on the risk and the threat at hand. That will be decided this morning as to how many shelters we open up. But again, the Civic Center and the Cubans in the Civic Center will have no impact whatsoever on the sheltering capabilities that we already have under our official shelter list.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, that shelter's been out of commission, I think, for a little while. So we do have a shelter list. Let's go ahead and throw that up on the screen for everyone's benefit. I did have someone this morning saying, I don't know where to find the shelter list. And that's why I like to have these shows, because we can kind of pull everything together. So folks, it's important for you to know where your shelters are located, and to also make a decision ahead of time in terms of when you will actually go to shelter if need be. So quite a number of shelters, some are dog accessible, some are not. So keep that in mind. If you have any pets, you want to be very, very cautious there. And I mean, what sort of triggers do you think people should be looking at, Danny, to make that decision if they should go to a shelter? And of course, you don't want to do it in the height of a, a storm. You kind of need to decide quite early.
I think it's a great point, Sandra. I mean, the last thing we need is people to be running out in the middle of a storm. It's so incredibly dangerous. I think if people feel that, they're a one-story house, they're on the coast, for example, or there's some ailments, they might have medical conditions, and just feel unsafe from where they are. If they know the elevation of the house, that's one thing you'll know, and you live in a flood area, that obviously also helps. So I think it's just really important to know your risk. If you don't feel safe in your house, I would strongly recommend you go to a shelter. But just remember, it might not be that we have all these shelters open this week. It'll very much depend on what the threat is. But that the shelter activation and what that looks like and what the time's going to be of opening, as well as the which shelters are open, will be coming out from government very, very soon. And just another thing, Sandy, is just, you can't go to the shelter with all your entire life savings. You've got to be very, very specific. Making sure that you aren't carrying anything. There's quite strict rules of a shelter. You're not allowed alcohol. You're not allowed any kind of knives. Even a Swiss Army knife doesn't go down well in a shelter. So knowing what those shelter rules are before you go will help decide whether you want to go or not.
Right. And to also maybe pack a separate little bag that you have ready during hurricane season as your shelter bag,
absolutely. Grab and go bag. Grab and go bag is so critical. Making sure you've got copies of your passport, got some extra cash. We strongly encouraging people today to get, cash out, fuel their cars. It's going to be so important. But that grab and go bag is going to be great for the shelter. And again, remember, you have a small space. What we do, we estimate the space per shelter on international sphere standards. But of course, a public shelter is not the most comfortable places, especially when you've got so many people in there. If we do have a big number, it's not going to be particularly comfortable. So just bear that in mind. And also, you have to bring your own food and refreshments, and there's no cooking facilities there during that activation.
All right. Another question here is asking, is any of the primary schools or high schools going to be used as shelters? So yes, Lilac Peach, the shelter list is actually on the screen right now. So you can see all the way from West Bay, from John Gray Memorial Church Hall. I like this little diagram because it actually gives you the capacity as well, which is something that you need to think about, because shelters can only hold so many people. So,
and just to bear in mind, Sandy, this is the new list will be coming out very, very soon.
Okay.
And there is increased capacity as well. For example, John Gray High School, we've done quite significant work on increasing that capacity. We're hoping to get Bodden Town Church of God open very, very soon as well. So this list will look very, very different. Well, not very different. It'll be very similar, but it'll have increased capacity within the next week or so.
Yes. So Marcia, good morning, Marcia. She says, good morning, Sandy and Danny. More sand is required at the new roundabout and Agnes Way. Can we get more sand delivered? Many thanks to NRA. So I don't know if you could jot that down
Yeah,
on your
I can do that straight away, Marsha. Thank you very much for that comment. It's funny, I drove past there very early this morning and there was a lot of sand, but we are liaising with NRA at all times, so we can definitely get more sand there very, very soon.
Yeah. Aliano asking about garbage pickup. So just as a quick note, our guests do have to go. I know that they've got other interviews scheduled this morning as well. So we do want to thank our guests, but we're going to go through all of these questions this morning and try to get answers in real time if we can about, DEH. We've got messages from Water Authority, from DEH. We haven't heard anything from CUC yet, but we know that we'll message Sasha. We know that CUC tends to keep the power on as long as they possibly can, as well as the Water Authority. But of course, there becomes a point in time when it might be dangerous to continue to do that. So I'll just check in with them and see if we have any hurricane related messages from them as well.
Sandy as well. So
Yeah.
one of our emergency support teams under the NEAC, the National Emergency Operations Centre, is utilities, and that's chaired by Ms. Julia from the Water Authority. They will be providing updates to us later on today for the council briefing. So again, that will be shared with the public about utilities, but any information you can share with us as well, I mean, obviously always gratefully appreciated.
Yep, absolutely. And during times like this, obviously, you guys will get a lot of messages from us here at CMR because we are sharing everything that we get.
Yeah.
We post it on social media. We're sending it across all of our, our social channels and stuff as well. And I'll give you guys a little update in terms of social channels this morning. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. I just wanted to ask, would there be an evacuation plan in case all the shelters can't hold everybody?
Evacuation plans. This is kind of difficult because on an island, where do you evacuate to? I mean, Cayman Airways is putting on additional flights. So I would say that if during any storm, if you fall into high risk category, you've got medical illnesses or treatments that you need to be getting that, put you at higher risk, consider the flights that are available out of Cayman. Some people, Danny and John, you can tell me if this is a good idea. This morning, someone said they're sending their family to Cayman Brac. So only the necessary, hands on deck here, wife, children, grandkids, babies, everybody else is going to go to the Brac. Is that a safe point at this time in relation to this storm?
In relation to this storm, the Cayman Brac and the Sister Islands are expected to have a bit lower of an impact, but be careful because I believe their forecast for their rainfall may actually be a bit higher. Okay. And it doesn't help that they're going to get tropical storm force winds. It looks like they're going to get some spiral bands of strong gusty winds at times.
I think, Sandy, just as far as evacuation goes, again, it's very much a personal choice. We work obviously to try and get as many shelter spaces as possible. We work very closely with the private sector as well to make sure they can house their own people, their own staff members, for example. But again, we're going to have to find ways to make sure people are safe. But we do need people to think about reaching out to family members who live in accommodation that's safe, or their businesses and so forth, thinking about what that plan is. But again, you really should have your shelter plan in place today. What does that look like for the next couple of days? Because you don't want to be caught off guard and the wind's arriving tomorrow and then you've got nowhere to go. So really important, you know where you're going at this stage.
Mm-hmm. All right. So have a plan in place. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And there are some areas that are a little bit, better to be at. I remember during Ivan, I stayed with my friend Alistair because I was in North Sound Estates, Rackley, which we get a good rain and Rackley's underwater. So I thought, probably don't want to stay here during a Cat 5 storm. So I went up to Spots Newlands, which was a lot better, a little bit higher ground. So, you might not have to go to a shelter, but maybe you want to bunk with a friend or, other family, just have a plan, I think is the most important thing. So I kind of decided quite early on that was going to be, my plan of action.
I think that's much more comfortable than going to a public shelter, Sandy. I think trying to friends or family, or again, acquaintances or colleagues. And again, maybe it's just more of a call out for everyone in Cayman who can accommodate someone, who knows someone's living in a very vulnerable area, to invite them around and spend that time over the next few days in the house together. We really do need everyone to, a community effort here to make sure everyone's helping each other out and everyone's being very kind and, sharing whatever they can to share and make this easier for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Very good. All right, Jody, good morning to you. Says, how do you arrange to get indigent people to shelters? So again, this is a good idea if you have people with special needs who, for example, have wheelchair accessible issues. Are any of the shelters able to accommodate those individuals?
Yes, so we have out of the shelters, we have obviously some EMCs, which are emergency medical centers. There's 9 emergency medical centers. Obviously, some of those will be up and running this week. You can see in the brackets EMC, which just means an emergency medical center. We have first aid personnel from Red Cross at all of our shelters. But the EMCs, again, if you have any medical ailments, you really want to go to an EMC. So we will be, again, getting that list out very soon, probably more like by noon, as to which shelters are going to be opening. So, yeah, if you do have an issue, please go to an emergency medical center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good.
Again, this is a first come, first serve. So if you are very vulnerable, please make sure you are planning this early. Mm-hmm. The capacities are there, but in all fairness, when these kind of things happen, we have to stretch the capacity a little bit. The capacity is the ideal capacity. If it's a life-saving situation, obviously, we would be having to extend that capacity a little bit. You mentioned the animal shelters as well. So it's John Boy High School and Clifton Hunter High School are the animal shelters, but that's just dog and cat, and they have to be caged, and there are rules around what that looks like.
All right, good question there, Jody. Good morning to Julia. We'll go over the list again of where you can get sandbags from. Big shout out to the Lions group as well, because they were also busy helping people with their sandbags. That's right. Strong Will said they can also get at the Lions Center. So yeah, we'll go through all of that. Paul says, Auntie Sandra, I bring you a shark oil barometer on my next visit. Shark oil clear, no storm coming, shark oil cloudy, batten down the hatches. Oh my gosh. Well, thankfully, Paul, we've got such amazing technology available at our disposal these days. John, I know that that weather radar has been the bane of your existence, no doubt.
I think the bane of both of our existence for some time.
It's crazy. It's up and down, but it's good for now, right?
It's good for now and expected for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
It's a more robust program in place right now, and we're working on a proper maintenance program with them and everything. So, and even talking about an upgrade. So, we'll see where all of that goes. But for right now, our radar is up and running. We're not seeing any unexpected downtime, as it were.
Yeah, and hopefully, Jenny, watching from the Philippines. Morning, Jenny. Hopefully, this will not be the storm that's going to blow it away. So I think we're good.
After all the work that he's put into it and the team for Cayman's National Weather Service in the Cabinet Office, it'd be a real shame.
That would just be wrong on so many levels. So Beryl behave. By the way, Leroy says that Beryl needs a man. I thought Beryl was a man. What's is it a male or female name? Do we know?
That's a really good point. What was A? Because it alternates.
Oh, I don't know. I have no clue.
Antonio or something like that. It's a Spanish name. Alberto.
Yeah,
Alberto.
Beryl is a lady.
Might be a
woman.
female.
Yeah, a female.
Oh, I didn't know that they alternated between male and female. That's interesting. All right. You learn something new every day.
Fun fact.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Tracy says, remember with Ivan when all the little Cayman brought their boats here and they were actually better off staying there. Yeah. It's very unpredictable. So good point that you just don't know, so take your time and make decisions. I think a lot of times, sometimes it's easier to just hunker down where you are. You're familiar with your surroundings, where to get stuff, and just do your best to be prepared. All the stores were open yesterday, had extended hours to try to accommodate everyone. So I know, Danny, you've got to go. John, you've also got to go. I think you guys are running over to Radio Cayman. So thank you guys so much for coming on the program this morning. Obviously, we'll continue to have our regular show, and it will be all things storm related to Hurricane Beryl. So thank you both for coming on the program today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sandy, and thanks for all the listeners. Really, really appreciate you sharing the information. And again, invite us back whenever you need us back. We were happy to join you.
Absolutely. Thanks again.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, John. All right. Danny Coleman, Head of Hazard Management, Director General for the Cayman Islands National Weather Service, Mr. John Tibbetts, both hard at work along with so many others at the moment. So good morning to everyone. Let me just check on our Instagram, folks. You guys all right over here? Hold on a second. Everybody IG good? All right. Y'all looking good, looking good. Okay. Trying to see if there's any messages that came in from Instagram. So we're going to go through everything. By the way, this week, there's a couple changes here at CMR. First of all, we have reduced our show time by an hour. So it was originally supposed to be a 2-hour show. It was never intended to be a 3-hour show. It's a 2-hour show in exceptional circumstances where we have to go into overtime. We'll do that. So you guys know how you like the overtime sus. The good news is the days that we go into the overtime sus, things will get heated at 9:30 now instead of 10:30. So those of you who are just like, oh man, Sandy, I always have to go back and watch it. You might catch it now that it's an hour earlier. So radio is going to be 7:30 to 9:30. We're no longer going to be doing KISS in the mornings. We were on there jumping on with them with news. That kind of always threw our flow off a little bit. And I think for them as well. So 2 years we did it for. Fantastic. Now we're coming here directly at 7:30 because then we always had to start earlier and the timing was always So anyway, 7:30 sharp, we'll be here every single morning. And then, if we go into overtime, then obviously we go into overtime. For me, a 9:30 stop works in so many ways because a lot of times I'm like trying to get out of here to catch court news for you guys. And that's really difficult because yes. So, so it's really difficult because court starts at 10. So if I'm like 10:30, by the time I drive there and get there, it's like 11. After 11, things start to wrap up. So the 9:30 stop does give me a little bit of a better, just a better way to flex my time in the mornings. Okay, so okay, all right. So let's go through everything that we know. So let's do an update. So first of all, our prayers and thoughts. Good morning, Ms. Cara. Definitely go out to the people who've already been impacted by this storm. Barbados got impacted by it. The poor folks in Grenada, we've got some video footage that I'm going to queue up here this morning. They also were impacted by the storm, and trust me, not in a good way. I mean, this Beryl is, honey child. Shall we call Beryl a lady? She's not being very ladylike. She is, really did these poor people bad. Gave them a thump, as we will say, a good thump upside the head. One loss of life so far as we know. So here's some footage that we received from our very astute co-host, which is you students. So here is one that we received yesterday. This one shows the wind. And let me just pause it for radio listeners. This is showing you the power of the wind, obviously rain. But in this one, someone is at their home recording, and the rooftops. What kind of roof is that? Is that a metal roof or the tile roof? It's hard to tell from here, but the roofs are going in this. So just have a look here, folks. Yeah. So this looks like a compilation video. You see lots of rooftops, which, as we know, man, can I just say something about palm trees? Palm trees have got to be some of the strongest trees I've ever seen, honey child. Because trust and believe me, I mean, the coconuts are going to go, but a lot of times they stand up tall and firm. I guess they're very pliable. They're not as firm as you think. They sway with the wind, right? Which is a good thing because then there's that flexibility in the palm trees. But look at that palm tree in this video. And here they are again, all the palm trees bending. Look, oh my God, look at that one. Ooh, I think that one went down though. Yeah, that one's not coming back up behind the yellow house. And you know, it's good to look at these pictures because one of the videos, I should say, one of the things that becomes very, very obvious is all of the stuff around you that becomes a projectile that you're probably not even thinking of. So you got to think about these things. Big garbage bins, if they're not secured properly, furniture, the coconut trees. Yesterday on yesterday's show, someone was asking about, you know, what are we going to do about all the derelict properties and coconut trees and stuff? And so I'm actually messaging now DEH because we do have one derelict property in their neighborhood that has multiple coconut trees on it. And I don't know why this owner, who has not even a half built house, it's like 1/10 built or whatever, and it's been like that forever. I don't know why they don't just cut down the vegetation and maintain the vegetation. The coconut trees, I doubt were planted there. They probably just sprouted up from coconuts, you know, whatever. But why leave it there? Because it's a projectile. It's a hazard. It's a hazard when there isn't even a storm because they're constantly falling into the road, you know? So pretty crazy, but let's continue to watch this video. So yeah, lots of wind and rain action. Oh my gosh, their poor little tin roof. Oh, wow, look at that. Pretty crazy. Power lines obviously going down here. I think that is actually we don't have this so much here in Cayman. But that looks like a water, let's see. Yes. Hold on one second. Sorry, I'm trying to get Zeus back. He was at doggy daycare while I was away. So they're like, would you like to get him groomed? I'm like, that probably sounds like he needs it. I mean, he got groomed before he went for doggy daycare, but ooh. So yeah, thank you, Sean. I was just gonna say that actually looks like a water tank, which we don't really have a whole lot of them. I've actually never seen a water tank in Cayman. Have you guys seen a water tank? At our house, we have water barrels that Marlon recycles. He's a country boy. What can I tell you? He recycles rainwater to then, water a garden. So we don't have a sprinkler system. We use the rainwater, and all his gardens, he's done like piping. Child, he was creative during COVID. COVID brought out the gardening in him and the creativity. So all of his water beds actually have piping water from these water catchments, which are coming off the what do you call it? What's the trim on the roof called again? For the water. You guys know what I'm talking about. One of those. But yeah, I don't see very many water tanks in Cayman. It's something that I didn't really pay much attention to until I went to Jamaica, and then I saw a lot of them on rooftops and stuff like that. And also even New York has a lot of water tanks as well. So yeah, but we catch water around here for the garden. So that's somebody's water tank. Again, this is Lulu says there's a lot of water tanks in Cayman Brac though. Only way to get water from the water company. Oh my God, look at that one. Wow. And that looks like a metal roof. Wait a minute, let me just back that one up. So the metal roofs have wood underneath them still, I guess. Wow. What a mess. Guttering, thank you. Thank you for reminding me of what it's called. I forgot. There goes that solar panel. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That whole roof is gone, honey child. Oh my God. And that's a metal roof, right? The thing with the metal roof, I feel like it takes it off. Like, I mean, I'm no roofing expert, but the regular shingles, it probably takes off one, whatever. The metal roof, because it's in like pieces, it seems to rip entire sheets of it off at a time. Huh. Interesting. I know after Ivan, obviously everybody wanted to get a metal roof that could afford it, because those were the ones that stood the test of time, for sure. So, good morning to everyone. 936-2626. Phone lines are open. I'm just going to fast forward through some of this. We've got different camera angle views here of this storm. Again, this was Grenada. So yeah, pretty wild. Wow. This is a lengthy video, so we are just fast forwarding through some bits and pieces of it. There are those power lines just blowing in the wind, but they seem to be holding on for dear life, I must say. And of course, this is on the front porch, a little bit closer to the ground. You see that piece of the roof that just went flying by. This is the danger of those types of things. That guy's like, let me hurry up and close back the door, honey child. Yeah, you gotta be careful. That might lift your roof. Wow. So pretty wild. These people are like storm chasers. They're out there trying to get some footage of the storm. And of course, we don't want to encourage anybody. We want to discourage people from, chasing storms, because that can be very dangerous. I know some of you love the thrill of a good video and a good situation to be able to share it all over social media. But oh my gosh, look at the roof hitting those cars and stuff. Okay, let's watch another one. So this is an aerial view, the aftermath. I don't know if this is after. No, yeah, this looks like after. Oh my God, look at the roof damage. Lots of obviously coastal. If you're in the coast, that structure there, all those lost most of their roof structure for sure. If they're on the water, obviously you've got to worry about the storm surge. The ocean comes right in, just like it did during Ivan, and will wash out your whole house, furniture and all. So there's quite a bit here. Looks like somebody had a drone. I'm assuming this is drone footage that they were able to capture. Wow. Yeah, Grenada got hit pretty hard. It's safe to say. Those poor people. We're definitely going to be thinking about them this morning. So Ariel, I don't know how big is Grenada? How many people? So heading towards Jamaica, we'll get an update here shortly on exactly where the storm is headed next. Yeah, so by all accounts, I'm going to get a video here. Basically, so it was Alberto, Beryl, then Chris is already named, Debbie's next. So Beryl is a lady, folks. Not being ladylike, but that's a female name, apparently. I wasn't sure. I was thinking it was a male. Okay. So look at that footage. My goodness, that's pretty wild. So Category 5 storm now. Jamaica activates disaster response measures as it approaches. Of course, a lot of Caymanians have connections to people in Jamaica, family, friends, even business connections. So very, very concerning. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Hopefully everyone in Jamaica is making their preparations. So Beryl leaves parts of St. Vincent and the Grenadines with no water or electricity. And Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez said on Monday evening, gosh, he's been the prime minister forever. I'm guessing they don't have term limits there for them, because I swear this man has been the prime minister for like 15 years by now. He's friends with the PPM, and I remember that was way back in the early 2000s that he was prime minister. Anyway, Gonzalez told local authorities that they were working feverishly, urgently, and with great focus to get electricity in certain places, as quickly as possible, adding that the hospitals are without power. I wonder if they don't have backup generators. He said a lot of lines are down, trees have fallen down in lines. There's a few communities that do not have water. He said government offices and facilities will be open today, and he urged businesses to open. The airport will not open on Tuesday due to damage on one fence, according to the Prime Minister there. Barbados International Airport resuming operations today. So they were hit, but it was not as severe, I think, at that time. So they did suspend airport service on June the 30th, which was Sunday. But they have already given the all clear. One person has died in St. Vincent because of the storm and the Grenadines, and Prime Minister there made that announcement as well. So to be clear, Barbados did have some damage. In fact, we saw footage of like the boats and stuff there. And although they have given the all clear, they do have a bit of a cleanup effort now that will be underway for them. So I'm going to, let me just pause this video for a second and show you the situation in Barbados. Look at that. Whoa. My goodness. That was, I guess, supposed to be safe harbor for those boats, but a lot of them look like they got thrown around a little bit. But, the thing is, all of these material things can be replaced once you've got life and your health. So let's focus on the important stuff. So Mia Motley, big shout out to her. She was speaking, she was speaking with her people very, very early on in relation to the storm. And she said that preliminary reports show significant damage to fishing vessels. Probably as much as 20 may have sunk. With respect to house damages, she said it's still too early to tell. We have just over 40 houses with some kind of damage or roof loss, but we expect that number to increase because we have over 400 people in shelters. And now that the all clear has been given, a number of them will be returning home and they may well have sustained damage. This was Miss Mia Motley, Prime Minister there for Barbados. Civilians there are being warned to exercise caution, even though they want to leave and move around. So please do so cautiously. All right, so Beryl, what a ting. Beryl is breaking all kind of records, as we said earlier. The first Category 5 storm, Atlantic hurricane, to form in the month of June, July, this early. And the National Hurricane Center obviously watching this, as well as all the local officials. This marks the earliest that a Category 5 Atlantic hurricane storm has ever formed in record. And it's the second time an Atlantic hurricane has formed to this strength in July. The last time was Hurricane Emily in 2005. I don't even remember Emily. Hurricane Beryl continues to strengthen and is now at 165 miles per hour, according to the 2 a.m. update. I think the 4 a.m. update we had already. The storm is currently located about 775 miles southeast of Kingston, Jamaica, moving west-northwest at 22 miles per hour. So I think it picked up speed, which is good. The faster it moves, the faster it's going to move in and out of here, to be honest. Beryl is expected to bring life-threatening winds and storm surge to Jamaica later this week. I think they'll start to feel stuff by tomorrow. Hurricane warning remains in effect for the island, where hurricane conditions will impact the nation on Wednesday. Tropical storm force winds are expected earlier in the day on Wednesday, and then they're expecting storm surge could rise water levels by as much as 3 to 5 feet above normal levels and rainfall of 4 to 8 inches with isolated totals of up to 12 inches. Haiti and DR, southern coast remain under tropical storm watches. Storm surge up to 3 feet is possible and rainfall totals could reach 6 inches. So not going to impact them too much. This in Grenada now, we're still watching some video footage here. Is it called Caracau? Is that the capital of Grenada? I've never even heard of this place before, I'm going to be honest with you. Has been flattened by Hurricane Beryl, Grenada Prime Minister says. And of course, we can see the video footage here. I mean, sustained significant damage. I still wouldn't say flattened, but pretty bad. Their Prime Minister says that they have extreme damage from Hurricane Beryl, which made landfall on Monday. We have widespread reports of destruction and devastation in Caracou. I think it's Caracou. Is it Caracou? And Petite Martinique. Grenada Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell said in a news briefing. He was quoted as saying that in half an hour, Caracou was flattened. My God. Beryl made landfall around 11 a.m. yesterday morning in the Caribbean island with maximum sustained winds of 150 miles per hour. It is the strongest known hurricane to pass through the Grenadines, according to data from the National Hurricane NOAA. That dates back to 1858. So they've been watching storms since 1858, and it is definitely the strongest hurricane to pass through the Grenadines. So Mitchell said there's no immediate reports of deaths or injury there, but warned that that could change. He went on to say that you have to appreciate the ferocity and strength of the hurricane, and therefore we're not yet out of the woods. We're not able to say for sure that no one has been injured. There have been no loss of life as a result of the hurricane. Wow. All right. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning, Sandy. Good morning, Kenan. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. We're good. How are you?
Great, great. Of course, all eyes are on Beryl. Just wanted to give you some information because I heard you asking about Grenada. Grenada was a station that I used to manage. Delta used to have flights going in there several years ago, and had the opportunity to actually visit Grenada for more than 12 years. It's beautiful down there. Grenada is pretty much the same size of Canaan, like 21 miles long. The widest point of it is 12 miles wide. Population is 100 plus thousand people.
Oh, wow.
But guess what? Back in the days, because we came out of Grenada probably now about, I would say about 7 years since we stopped flying there, 5-7 years. But back in those days, crime rate was like 2-3%. It was like the gem of the Caribbean where you know, it has a melting pot as well, but it's of course mostly Eastern Caribbean people. Majority of their tourists that go there are all from the UK. But it's a beautiful place, very mountainous, you know, waterfalls and all of that sort of stuff, really pretty. But yes, yesterday during the course of the storm passing through there, hurricane passing through, I was talking with many of my friends that I made there over the years that I was flying there, talked with them before, during, and after. And what they said to me was that it was the north side of Grenada that really got the major effects of the storm, of the hurricane. And the bad thing about it is that they're like in the town. By the way, the capital is St. George. So Caracou is another little island that is next to them. And I had the opportunity to go over to Caracou during one of my stays over there while I was working.
So somebody said that Caracou, Grenada, is one of the many small islands. Grenada's capital is St. George's.
Yes, exactly. So St. George is the capital, but Caracou is, because it has a lot of little small islands around it. So I had the opportunity to visit there, and it was beautiful, quaint, beautiful little paradise. So I'm not surprised of that because that is like northeast of Grenada and stuff. But you know, so far, yes, and talking to my friends up until late this morning, because they were calling me back to say that everybody was okay and stuff. No deaths had been recorded that they were aware of. But of course, you know, with mountains and floodings and all of that sort of stuff, you don't know because the population is very, very large compared to us. But it's a beautiful island. So let's just keep Grenada and everybody else, you know, in its path in prayer right now, because this thing is catastrophic. And God forbid, we don't need it shifting to go anywhere near north. because we would drop right in its path. And yes, so just wanted to give you that information because I heard you asking about it. I had another topic, but I'm just going to leave it to Hurricane this morning. I'll wait until another day. But there's another topic that is very hot, that is pressing for me, that I need to share out there with our general public. But I'll leave that for another day. We're just going to get ready for work and prepare ourselves to see what's happening with us at the airport and flights and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So have yourself a great day.
Thank you so much.
Just to say publicly, to everyone out there that's listening, majority of the U.S. carriers, I work with Delta.
Yes.
I think all of the U.S. carriers, as well as Cayman Airways, anybody that had flights between the 1st and the 4th.
Yeah, we're going to go through that here in just a second. Yeah.
Yes, and I did see Americans say up until the 5th. Waivers are in place that if anyone wants to leave early, and seats are available, they can come, they can make those changes, and waivers will be done, and they don't have to pay to leave early. So just wanted to throw that there for you.
Yeah, thank you so much. A lot of people asking about when the airport will be closing, if it's going to be closing. We don't have any indications of that yet, but
yeah, and if and from experience with Ivan and Paloma and all of those hurricanes there, airlines particularly flew up to like the last dying moment to evacuate as many people that wanted to evacuate. But certainly the airport is going to remain open, but based on safety, of course, for their workers and everything, they're going to remain open as long as possible, that we can get people out that want to leave, and for those airlines that want to bring in flights. But I mean, that information will probably come out maybe late this evening, tomorrow, when it gets closer to the time. But yes, let's just, continue to pray.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, then, love.
All right, my dear. Thank you so much. So yeah, we'll go through some of the details of what's happening in terms of like flights. So Cayman Airways did put on, as promised, some additional flights. I know I mentioned this yesterday, that they were going to be making some announcements. So, evacuation flights. A lot of people are like, oh, why are people leaving? I mean, there might be different reasons why people need to leave. Vacationers, listen, I know some people coming in today, they're like, we're going to just ride it out with you guys. A lot of times, if it was going to be, a more direct hit, I would say, do not ride out this storm. If you don't actually live in the Cayman Islands and you don't have a reason to be here, you don't live and work here normally, then, that this is not a party. This isn't a hurricane party. You take these things seriously. The thing about it is the fewer people that you have on island, a lot of times the better, right? So when emergency services need to check in and need to get stuff done, it's much better if you don't have quite as many people. So Cayman Airways, thank you so much. They're going to be doing waiving of change fees and some adjustments to flights, including adding additional flights. And I want to do a big shout out to all of our, yesterday, you guys were at the grocery stores. You were at the, cost you less, price right. I know temperatures are rising because you're like, oh, they need to do this, they need to do that. But listen, the most important thing is these people have family members, they have homes, they have apartments, they have a room, a little hole in the wall somewhere that they're worried about too. A lot of people from here living in Cayman have interest in Jamaica. So, we're all going through some different degrees of stress with storms when they start to come in. And people who have to work on the front line, I think that they feel the brunt of a lot of this. And so I want to thank them for their ongoing efforts and their customer service. It might not have been 100% up to par yesterday. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't out there in these situations, but I just want to thank them for their amazing service. Have a little bit of grace with people in times like this. You're not going to probably get top-notch service right now, but it's A-okay. We're all going to get through this and things are going to be just fine. So thank you to all the stores and their employees that decided to open up. Okay. Let me see here. All right. So Cayman Airways, adding some additional flights and also waiving some fees for you. So if this impacts you, have a look. We do have an article here that was up about it. So please have a look in terms of that. Contact the airline if you have any questions. But basically, anybody traveling from July the 2nd through the 4th, they're going to make some adjustments for you there. Tickets had to have already been purchased before the 29th. New travel dates must be rebooked by July the 9th. So they have perimeters in place on exactly how this is going to work. So sometimes they're waiving the change fee, but not the fare difference. So, fare differences kind of fluctuate depending on different factors. So lots of additional flights added. Kingston, lots of flights departing from Grand Cayman to Kingston and vice versa. So feel free to check the schedules there. Miss Stacy, your smoothie this morning is on point. Don't tell Kevin, he can run over and get some. Last time Kevin was over here, he brought his container. He's like, I need Miss Stacy to make me some smoothie. That was so good. All right, so check the link. I'll put the link here for all the flights, but additional flights have definitely been put on. The poor folks at the airport, customs, and CBC, big shout out to them as well. We got in late last night. The flight was pretty much on time. I think we left like 9:10 or something. Child, I was so tired. Poor Gigi, she was tired. I was tired. Everybody was tired. And we got in kind of late. Shout out to customs, immigration, everybody tried to get us in and out as quickly as possible. Although I was still one of the last people to leave the airport. But anywho, CBC, please, that Sunday flight, try to have more than one person working cashier. Y'all be stressing out the one little worker when you only have one person there. Mr. Chucky, you still in charge, aren't you? Have two cashiers working. All right. So Cayman Airways, I've given you guys the link. They have, no changes in domestic flights at this time. They've got their toll-free numbers. If you need to contact any of their gateway cities, the U.S., Jamaica, Honduras, Panama, there you have all of the details. Okay, let's move on to the other airlines. So everybody has gotten on board with implementing waivers, changes ahead of Hurricane Beryl. Cayman Airways, we just covered. American Airlines. So American Airlines has a couple flights from Grand Cayman to Miami today. That's been updated with an additional 68 seat capacity. That was flight 8A AA 367. Obviously, you can contact American Airlines directly. They are also issuing change waivers to passengers wishing to make changes to flight reservations between the 1st and the 5th of July. Southwest Airline waiving all fare difference changes from the 1st to the 4th. And they're obviously monitoring the situation as well. Delta Airline doing something similar. United, JetBlue, British Airways, Air Canada, all WestJet, all waiving up until the 5th, basically. So contact them directly. And again, we have the link here. If you're traveling, this might be helpful information for you. So you just never know when these things are going to happen, even when you're traveling. All right. So yesterday was obviously a public holiday in the Cayman Islands, Constitution Day. We're now under, again, a hurricane watch. So this just means that we are within 48 hours of being impacted by the storm. Hurricane conditions possible within the next 48 hours. So residents, again, be encouraged to take immediate precautions to protect themselves, families, and property. I'm going to talk about protecting your property here in a second because I see some of y'all struggling a little bit. So we got to have a plan of action because we can't have this. Listen, predictions. You guys saw what we said last month about the hurricane predictions this year. We're going to get something, This is an early warning, okay? Something is coming our way. Now, I'm not putting my goat mouth on nothing, no situation. This is just good common sense. And the experts have said this is going to be a hurricane season to watch. If this storm, which has already broken all sorts of record, earliest storm in June, strongest one in June, strongest for Cat 5, all these records have been broken by Beryl. This is an early warning, folks, to get it together. Every single storm, we can't be sitting here going, oh yeah, last minute, let me run and go get some toilet paper. One thing I know for sure, somebody said the shelves in Jamaica are empty of bread. The shelves in Cayman are empty of the toilet paper. Everybody in Cayman should have a nice clean behind because of the storm, because y'all love a toilet paper. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Hi, morning. How are you?
I'm grateful.
Good.
I take it you had a good trip.
Yes. Glad to be back.
If I had known you were going, I'd have gotten a bin and tucked myself in it and go and stay. Oh God, I didn't need the stress on me at this time.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, Sandra, I just want to say something to whomever might be listening.
Yes, ma'am.
I think this is something that a lot of people overlook during times of whether it's a tropical storm or a hurricane. Please pick up things out of your yard. It might seem small to you, but if the wind picks it up, it becomes a missile to someone else's house or car, whatever. It might not damage your property, but it might damage your neighbor's property. So please be very considerate and move your stuff, tie it down, weight it down, whatever, because that's what damages a lot of people's places. I've had that problem. I'm seeing it happening around me again. And, you know, it just baffles me that people can be so mindless and inconsiderate to others. So I would ask that you check on me to make sure that I don't get blown away.
Yep.
Because I already decided I'm going to lie down on the ground and hold on to something. The wind, the higher winds are at the top. So I figure
so just go low.
Yeah. Now I might be able to get back up, but I'm going to get down there somehow. And so I decided, you know what? If it takes everything, that's okay, as long as it leaves me. So maybe somebody should just check that I survived, you know? Anyway,
we'll check on you, not to worry. And the good news is here we're gonna do storm coverage right throughout. We got a backup generator, so hopefully we'll be good.
Good. Yeah, well,
so we'll be here for people.
That's my humor to lighten the stress.
Yes,
on my end,
absolutely.
This was a terrible time, you know, for this to happen for me.
Yeah.
So anyway,
thank you, my dear.
I trust God, and
yes,
I pray that we will all make it through this. And let us pray for our neighbors.
Absolutely.
As well. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right, my dear. So yes, we definitely need to be thinking about, you know, both our neighbors in Cayman and our neighbors regionally as well. Obviously, Jamaica is going to be impacted first by this. So some areas of Jamaica have, you know, mudslides. You know, they've got other issues, flooding and stuff that they need to be concerned about. So everybody has something. I tell you what, you just never know. Miss Ingrid says people are buying toilet paper more than food. Yeah, I was a bit taken aback by the empty shelves, the toilet paper shelves. I'm thinking, first of all, can we talk a little bit about your hurricane stash? Look at this. Two couple of rolls left. Y'all cleaned out, Foster's, literally. So water and toilet paper always at the top of your list. But let me ask y'all a question. Do you not have, I mean, what's the draw with toilet paper? Can somebody tell me what this is all about? Because do y'all not buy enough toilet paper? Like, here's the thing. You have your hurricane stash, and I think we need to organize ours, Miss Stacy. This is my memo. Your hurricane stash needs to be, I mean, I always have ample supplies and stuff, but your hurricane stash needs to be separate and apart from the rest of your supplies. Because I know, you know, we only have the one kid, but, you know, when you have more people in the household, kids, child, they be running through stuff. Sometimes they use so much toilet paper. I see Gigi roll it. I'm like, listen, You know how rich you are to have toilet paper, access to toilet paper? There's so many places in the world that you don't even have toilet paper. And then you get one ply. Cayman, well, COVID was the exception. We are 2-ply fortunate. Look at us. We're so rich we can get 2-ply toilet paper. You don't need to have a whole ream of toilet paper just to wipe your little parts. Okay? Maybe we all need to start buying the what do they call the bidets, where you don't need toilet paper at all. You just wash it every time. Anyway, so listen, teach your children to be conservative with toilet paper usage, because a lot of times they roll it and it's just a little PB, just a little dabble, and they're overusing it. So remind them to be more conservative with the toilet paper. But keep a separate stash. Those containers that cost you less had for $12.99, I already have from like last year, I think it was, or maybe even the year before. I think I have 4 of those. But at that price, I'm going to buy 1 more because that's a great price. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Good morning, Sandy. Good morning to you.
Hello, my dear. How are you?
I am very well. And, as you have already indicated, we have to be full preparation mode. And for that reason, I thought I'd just share some information with your listening audience and those online. We're encouraging persons not to submit any passport application or application.
Oh, so let's identify you first, because obviously I know who you are, but our listeners may not know. That's okay.
Yeah.
So this is Miss Aline.
With the Jamaican consulate
Yes.
here in Cayman.
Yes.
And we just want to encourage persons at this point that we prefer to postpone all services for passport application and visa applications. We prefer persons to have their passport secure with them. And of course, as soon as the storm is past, we can resume, accepting applications. But bear in mind that persons who have a Jamaican passport, that even if it has expired, you can still travel on that expired passport to Jamaica. For persons who require a visa, except in cases of emergencies, we would prefer for them to just hold those documents until after the storm, to ensure that it is secure.
Yes.
We're also encouraging persons, just to take every precaution. Of course, we will resume as quickly as is possible, of course, to help. And we pray that the islands, will be spared the worst, and of course that everyone will be safe. We just hope that persons will continue with their preparation mode, and to bear in mind that our office will be open today, and if persons need to collect their visas, passport, we encourage them to do so. But we would prefer not persons to be, submitting any application for passports and having their documents held here when they could keep those passports and travel on them, if indeed that they have to leave urgently.
Wonderful. All right, so that's Miss Aline Harris from the Jamaica Consulate Office there in what's the name of the building again?
We're in the .com building.
.com building.
Drive, across from the FedEx in Industrial Park.
Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Aline. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, so these are important things.
Bye.
Thank you so much. These are important things to think about. Travel documents, you should always try to make sure that they're kept up to date. Some of you travel on the waiver system a lot. At times like this, that might present a little bit of challenge. So, either get your US visa, have that in place if need be. I don't know how easy it is to get a waiver. Like if you need to get a waiver today for travel in a couple of days, always think ahead about what your contingency plans are. So thank you so much to Miss Aline. Ingrid says people are buying more toilet paper than food. And also people are buying food, and I'm kind of curious as to why the mad rush on certain types of food. But anyway, Dawn says, leave if you can. Category 5, Dorian in the Bahamas was nothing to mess with. Trailer or body bags, leave. So Dawn, let's not panic. Caymanians have been through a Category 5 storm. We went through Ivan. Some of us are too young now. Can you imagine We've got kids that are too young. They weren't here. They weren't born with Ivan. So you got to prepare them a little bit. So what I would say in relation to preparation for these storms, there are some people who should leave without a doubt. Again, there are other people who can ride this out, so there's no need to panic though. Whatever the situation is, please don't panic. Andrea is saying that Miami flights are all full. I'm assuming that's going into Miami. Ingrid wishing that she could get a flight to San Andreas. So I had some people saying to me yesterday, Caymanians who have connections in Roatan and the Bay Islands, they would run there. I mean, you can, but that might not be the smartest idea, because a lot of times you don't know where a storm's going to hit next. So there are people who are running from it and end up running into it. So just be very, very cautious with your plans. My thing about Cayman is our access here is fairly good to resources. I'm sure that there'll be a British ship offshore in no time, offering some water and some assistance if we were to ever have another Ivan again, just like it was during Ivan. And obviously the leadership in this country needs to make sure that they're ready and they're prepared. I saw someone asking earlier about where is their West Bay MPs. With the exception of Kenneth Bryan, I know Joey. I am in the Washington Boulevard group, so I do know that Joey remains in constant contact with that group. So, thank you to those representatives. I'm assuming that the others are out there doing stuff. I haven't really heard or seen too much about it. They've certainly not been in contact. The Honorable Kenneth Bryan was on the show yesterday morning. He tends to be extremely proactive with these types of things, going out in the community and making sure that his constituents are going to be okay. And if they need anything, then, obviously. Some of you are very, very reliant on your elected officials. And I'm going to make that suggestion here today that perhaps you shouldn't be. Let's be honest here. They have a job as an elected official, and they have interests, families, and stuff as well that they need to have sorted out in one way or another. But at the same time, we know. I mean, hurricanes are relatively predictable, right? The forecasters had given us this year predictions of, y'all gonna get hammered. It might be a Cat 1, it might be a Cat 2, it might be a Cat 5. Prepare for the worst and pray for the best. That's the motto under which we should be operating. So I remain very, very surprised that so many of you seem to be ill prepared. You don't have any hurricane supplies. You got paid last week. Somebody sent me a message from a kind lady in the women's group saying, does anybody need anything? They're like, I bet she regretted posting that because everybody's like, yes, I need. Well, I don't know who this poor woman is. If she got $1 million bank account that can help all these people, I kind of doubt it, but y'all need to do better, right? I see people on here talking about they need canned goods. You have a job and you're working. Canned goods are some of the cheapest things you can buy at the grocery store. Why do you need canned goods? Right? Why do you need this woman? I don't know. What's her name? Good old Miss Lindsay. Why do you need Miss Lindsay to go out there and buy canned goods for you? You have a job. You know what I think of when I see this person in particular? I'm not going to call in names this morning because I'm feeling nicer than Beryl, so I won't be calling any names. When I see you buying cigarettes and then you post in a women's group that you need canned goods, honey child, my little eyebrows are being raised like, are you for real right now? You need canned goods. Don't buy a pack of cigarettes and you know how many canned goods are a carton? You know how many canned goods you could buy? Budget and do better. Stop looking for handouts. It's not a good look. As Caymanians, you don't look good. When I see y'all in these groups begging these people, I'm like, here we go. Caymanians, we can't do better than this. No wonder some of them look down on us like, get your ish together. Y'all can do better. This begging mentality is going to be the death of us. Seriously. Canned goods last forever. They're full of preservatives, honey child. They can vegetables. They tell you can use them 5 years from now. Buy your canned goods and keep them. Each hurricane season, you see what's expired, what's not, and you're good to go. Please. Cook a pot of beans ahead of the storm. Beans and rice, something that can keep on the stove top. Remember back in the day, now of course I don't remember it because I wasn't alive, but remember back in the day when our forefathers was cooking outside in the caboose and that stuff lasted forever? I mean, seriously. There are things that you can cook and just leave on the pot, on the stove top for a couple of days. It's not going to spoil. It's not going to kill you. You'll be okay. Paul says, what are you guys doing with paper towels and toilet paper? Those are not important. Honey child, I don't know. Like I said, we can be the cleanest people this side of the Caribbean, this side of Mississippi. Everybody can have a clean bunkie. That's all I can tell you. Because gosh, they love a toilet paper in Cayman. Every storm. Panic buying is crazy, says Siobhan. Yes, I saw all the videos yesterday, and all I could do is shake my head. Here's another one that somebody shared. I think this was Grenada. We need to mute this, but yes. So this was some footage from somebody's house. I'm not quite sure what we're looking at. Oh, just some tree damage. It doesn't look too bad. So, you'll expect tree limbs and stuff like that to be down, obviously. Yeah, some trees down. So, have your hurricane stash and set it aside. Budget, folks, and do better. Scott says over 20-foot waves for the east side of Jamaica expected. Can, good morning. Says Dios los cuida en todo momentos. Gracias. Good morning, caller. Do you need toilet paper? I hope not.
I want to know where it's supposed to flush it.
Girl, I don't know. They must have got the porta potties ready. I don't know.
I mean, I can get it like for mopping up and clean. I don't know. I really don't know. But
it's crazy, right?
We needed it for COVID and we need it for hurricane. I do not know. It happens. So
yeah.
I have a question. I have actually, it's a big concern, but it's not really. I was not living. I wasn't back home for Ivan. And what generally is the hotel's take on these things when they have guests and there's no way out for them, like they're booked and whatnot? Because what I have found, I have some friends on islands, and they're staying up in the Eastern District, and where they're staying is, they're, according to what my friends are telling me, is that the place is shutting down. So, but I'm like, what does that mean? I can understand, because if they lose power, they lose water, they
right.
all of that. But at the same time, where are people supposed to go? It is slow season, but I mean, to my knowledge, places are still, people are here, people have traveled, and then they were trying to rebook, to get out, but Cayman Airways is booked. But when I spoke to Cayman Airways was like, oh, it looks like they booked through a third party. Unfortunately, that third party is called Cheapo Air, which really represents what it stands for. I stopped using them, but because they're
what are they called? Cheapo Air?
Cheapo Air. It's like an Expedia type of thing.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's like as if Expedia was pushing you in a trolley. Like it's that level of whatever. So when you call them, like you're calling, it's outsourced, obviously. So they booked Cayman Airways through Cheapo Air, and when they called Cheapo Air this morning, Cheapo Air tells them they're not even aware of the alert.
Oh my God. Okay.
So, then you're dealing with people who are here now. They barely have enough data to call out. So they're calling or whatever. So luckily I'm here so I can help them as well. But the thing is, I myself may have to go to a shelter. So it's like, do we have shelter for all of these people. I understand evacuation, and hopefully, like, things will keep moving down in terms of category, but we do not know. But it would be interesting. I think I would like something that if you could find out, like, what are the plans for the tourists? I guess we're not all on our own like that. So there must be, I don't know if the government has told hotels what what their obligations are. I mean, if we lose power, we lose power, but where are these people supposed to go if they can't physically get out on a flight?
That's a good question. I'll try to find out. I'll ask some questions. Yeah.
What does it mean when a hotel says they're shutting down?
Right. Let me try to reach out to Mr. J.A. Hart from the Tourism Association. He might have an idea. And I've reached out to a few people. I've reached out to the DART group as well, which obviously they own a number of hotels, to kind of see what their policy is. It's a good question. Very good question. Thank you so much.
Take care. Yeah, everyone.
Yes, be safe.
Bye now.
Absolutely. Let's see if we can get a hold of Mr. J.A. Hart, because he might have an idea. I'm not sure if he does or not, but we'll ask. Leroy says Beryl is Ivan's sister 20 years later. It's crazy. Morning, Lavana. Lavana, I'll message you after the show. I got something for you. Dawn, good morning, says more directed to tourists. What was the question? I think I missed the first bit, Dawn. Any questions? Look up pictures of Dorian, Abaco, Bahamas. Oh, for the tourists. Thank you for evacuation. Yeah. I think it's always a good idea for tourists to, if they can, leave. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy.
Mr.
Really
Dexter.
I really miss you those last couple of days. I miss my ex-wife.
Well, hold on now, because I'm not so sure that you should be missing your ex-wife. So that's not a compliment.
No. Hell no.
But I got some good news for you. The cows have been moved.
Yeah, and guess what? They were moved on Sunday morning, but people don't realize the dangers of eating contaminated beef, because with them drinking water, I did a research, and there's seven diseases that these cows can get from drinking contaminated, and I'll make it as gross as possible. They were drinking poop water, and it is sad. And I thank Joyce Smith for removing those cows and putting them to another area. But what Eric Borden should be doing now is to make sure that these cows are tested and every couple of weeks, to make sure that does not have any disease. They can give you E. coli, salmonella, and people don't realize eating that without being assured, does the beef without being assured. But anyway, we got a more.
Thank you so much.
More important issue to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad that the cows were moved. I mean, it goes to show you again.
Yeah,
people power. Let's keep on top of it.
Anyway, I hope Joyce Smith don't think I got anything against him. I don't. It's just that the way that he treated these cows, and I would be speaking out when anybody else is doing their cows or treating an animal the way that he treated those animals. Not animals, they're four-legged humans.
Thank you.
Anyway, what I'm calling you about, Sandy, people don't realize that if the electricity goes out and the people don't have ready cash and they need to go to a supermarket, what then? The best thing for them to do is go.
You got to keep a little bit of cash on hand. I mean, I'm one of those people. I'm always going to be in trouble because I'm not a cash person. So I don't keep cash. I don't walk around cash. I mean, I was in Miami for the last 5-6 days, And I didn't have any cash on me at all. I kept saying, "Oh man, I should go to the ATM
Oh
machine."
no, I mean nobody goes around. I don't. In my pocket, you can't find. You probably find some money that is Cuban money or Jamaican money.
Yeah.
That is, these crackheads come out to me. Oh, I want you to lend me $2. I'll give them a handful of foreign currency.
When I finally got some cash, was heading to the airport, only because I got to tip my little porter guy. Since Ivan, you can't hardly find a porter at Miami International Airport anymore. So what I've done is I got a phone number. One time it occurred to me, Sandy, you better get a porter that you can call when you're traveling. And so when I'm leaving, I message him normally the day before and I said, "Honey, I've been in Miami. I'm leaving tomorrow. Are you working? This time I'm going to be there." And he says, "Yes." And he looks out for me. I got him on speed dial. I got him on WhatsApp. And so I want to tip him good. So I make sure I have tip money ready for him because he's going to help me unload my bags and not break my back and get it to Cayman Airways. So that's the only reason I went to the ATM machine yesterday morning before going to the airport.
And another thing is, and there are people that are living in substandard conditions.
Yes.
Do not hesitate to go to the shelters.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many people out there that will not go to a shelter. Why?
Yeah.
If they're living in substandard.
Yeah, you gotta, I get the idea that most people, if they can ride it out at home, that's always your preference.
Yeah,
but sometimes you're not being realistic about riding it out at home.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I called the wrong Jay. Okay, caller. Thank you. Minister, I actually didn't mean to call you this morning. I was thinking to call Jay Earhart, but of course, when I typed in Jay, your number came up first. So this must be divine intervention, honey chair.
Oh God, what's up, Sandy?
We'll take it. I was actually going to ask him a question about hotels, but anyway, Minister, since I have you on the phone, tell us what you're doing in terms of preparing your constituency, the District of Northside, for this storm, and just people generally here in the Cayman Islands. You obviously are responsible for National Roads Authority, a key area when it comes to storm prep and management posts. So how are things looking?
Sandy, right now things are going great. I have a crew together in Northside, and my guys are actually heading around right now with the plywood, and they're screwing up all of that and helping anyone that needs help. Trying to get all the seniors sorted out. Anyone that needs in any help in any way. If there's trimming of trees around their house, we have a crew that's out there doing that also. So Northside, I'm working hardly with the people on Northside, and we're getting things rolled up there. NRA has been on the rolls for the last couple of days. They have started today to engage of getting their equipment into different districts to put them in the high ground so that in case we're ready to go on the aftermath to clean up the roads. We've been on the roll. I don't know how many loads of sand that we have dropped around the island. It's probably been close to more than 10 loads of sand and thousands of sandbags that we have actually handed out to for individual people. We're actually right now getting ready. I'm headed to El Thompson right now to try to get some more sandbags to carry to the fire station in Frank Sound for my people in Northside that actually need sandbags. PWD is actually shuttering up all of government buildings right now. So those guys are out doing their work. I must say they have a big task ahead of them, but they have all did this planning before, so they can actually pretty much get this down packed within 6 hours, I think is usually the time. 122 buildings and 4.5 to 6 hours of shuttering it up. So my team is all ready to go. We've, pretty much plywood has been distributed to almost all of to every MP. So every constituency has plywood to help their individuals out on the need. Sandbags have been giving out also. I think we're prepped and ready as much as we can and just hope for the best out of this.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Like I said, that was an accidental call. As these young people say, I butt dialed you, but nonetheless, I'm glad that I did. so we could get that little bit of an update.
And please, anyone that needs any help, feel free to contact me. Number is 916-4249. I don't run from work, so if you just call me, I'll make sure that if I don't get to you, someone will get to you to help you out. And NRA has been out there pumping out the drains. My people in North Side, if there's anything that you need, please contact me. 916-4249.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Minister. And
Thank you so much.
be
Take
safe.
care.
All right, my dear.
You
We've
too.
got another
Bye-bye.
caller in the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hello?
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, I was hoping I'd get that minister on because NRA all know.
Oh.
All know NRA now come up in Farrell Road, Newland. And my green is covered up with bushes and whatever from that last green that we had. Remember I told you, and I will come and check me the green out here, and I'm not hearing nothing.
Okay, hold on, honey child. One good thing, Michelle, one good thing about CMR is we got everybody in speed dial. So let's call the head of the NRA right now for you. Hold on, honey child. Hold on. Call ended. Mr. Edward. Mr. Edward.
And all no one has seen nobody. They need to come up and
okay, let me what's the name of your street again?
Farrell Road. And my house is one, the greenhouse with the container and the yard. But they need to come to contact me because they're not gonna find that green because they don't probably don't know where it is. I gotta show them because it's covered up with bush. I can't get out, and I can't go tearing out then fall down, break no way.
Okay. All right, let me I'm messaging him right now. Farrell Lane.
Farrell Road.
Sorry. Farrell Road.
Yes. Once they come in North Song State Gate, they don't go turn left to go canal. They just follow the road straight in. Well, they should know where this is. But they've been down here pumping it out already.
All right, sending him a message right now for you, honey. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Appreciate it.
I'm moving out right up here.
Yes, ma'am. 936-2626. Gabby says Sabrina hasn't come down Prospect Marina Drive at all. Northward, and I didn't get any. I'm in Northward. So someone was asking, where's Chris Saunders? Has anybody's heard from Chris Saunders? Well, he's my MP, barely. And I know that he always sends out these little WhatsApp messages. That's the extent of his representation. He just sends out a WhatsApp message, and I guess you better be with the times with WhatsApp because he's just going to be like, oh, as long as I sound good on WhatsApp. So I think he sent out a WhatsApp message. Let me check and tell you all now. Of course, I like to be honest. Even when I'm being critical, we're going to be honest. So he sent out a message at 5:30 this morning, basically just repeating everything that we know in terms of what actions to take and how to contact NEOC and all that. That's all he's done. I haven't heard anything. I mean, not that he'd be calling me, to be clear. Everybody knows where I stand with Chris Saunders. So I don't personally expect a phone call from him, but I can tell you nobody in our area has heard from him. So only God knows. And apparently other people are more widely inquiring, where is he? Big shout out to Maples. They're offering a $500 salary advance to staff who need to prepare for the hurricane to be deducted from August salary. That's good. I like that. All right, Maples. But what y'all need to do, more importantly, is teach your staff some fiscal management. Because a lot of Maple staff, let's be honest, they're making probably the best money of all the law firms out there. Even receptionists, they make all $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month. That's a lot more than most receptionists. And you still can't manage your funds. You don't need more money when you don't know good fiscal management. You can have $1 billion in the bank, and if you're not good with fiscal management, you will always be broke and you'll always be running. Turn down the radio, honey chill. You're always going to be. Hello?
Hello? Yeah, good morning.
You got to turn that down before you call me, honey chill. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah. I got to watch how for you be dressed up, you see, so I got to be watching you. That makes my day. Mr. Saunders was out yesterday distributing clay to a lot of people.
Okay.
And he been out yesterday all in certain areas here in Bordentown West, you know. So and I think he's out again this morning doing the same thing. So I just was listening to that, but I know
Yeah. Well, thank you for that
he
update.
was in the area. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
people were
Keep up the
asking.
good works.
Appreciate it, my
Be
dear.
careful.
Thank you.
Be careful.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm going to send across some questions to HSA. I do see a few questions have come in for them as well. So thank you, Mr. George, telling us that apparently he's aware that Chris Saunders has been out there. So I guess those of you who haven't seen him, you know, I guess they can't get to everybody. But I do want to say, for the record, I do not believe that you should be over-reliant on your MPs in any event. Let me find HSA's information here. So someone's asking about oxygen, patient needs oxygen and so on. So I think the HSA will be open pretty late. I mean, the HSA, not late, they're going to be open 24/7. They have emergency generators in place, and they are, when it comes to power outages, they're on a grid section, a little small section, all of their own pretty much in that area. And so they will be the last to go in terms of any power outages or anything like that. Let me just see now. HSA. All right, give me a minute. I'm going to send them your query about that. All right. Irvin says he's distributing plywood. That much I know because my truck is doing it. There you go. All right. So if you're in the Bordentown area and you need some plywood, give Chris Saunders a call. I am in South Sound. Where can I get ply, please? Again, you know, I don't know what kind of budget. Remember, the Finance 101. Nothing in life is free. So you might think it's free to you, but you're going to pay for it in a different way. So you know how y'all always complain about the cost of living and government and this and that? Even your MPs, they do have a budget, a monthly budget that they're given. It ain't free. You pay for it. You know, you're paying them to give you handouts. Think about it. It don't make no sense. The less you rely on government, the less thing I need to be taken from you to begin with. So a lot of them get money they get that $5,000 a month from government, or they're getting it from these so-called big businesses, developers and other people who will give them money in times like this for them to go out there and look good. We're coming up in an election year, so I'm sure all your MPs are trying to look their best. But trust me when I tell you, everything comes at a price. And sometimes the price is too big to bear. Okay. If you can afford a piece of plywood for yourself, go out there and source it. You don't need to purchase plywood with every single little storm that comes. Purchase it in advance. Like I said yesterday, when I was in my little condo, we had it purchased and we had the little latches put on, and then we simply stored it for future use. And that plywood lasted a long, I tell you no lie, probably at least 10 years. That lasted a long time before it needed to be replaced. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning, Miss Sandy.
Good morning, dear. How are you?
Okay, in regards to Chris Saunders,
yes,
he was delivering plywood all day yesterday.
Okay, thank you.
Today, again, the truck is there delivering plywood, so they can go there.
Go where? Go where? When you say there, where's?
By Chris Saunders.
By his house?
The truck will be distributing in Bordentown.
Okay. All right. Is there a contact number? Does he have a constituency office or contact number where people can reach out?
I will get that and send it to you.
Okay. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So there you go. So he is doing plywood. So it's a good idea, folks, to batten up. Strong Wilt says plywood is very expensive. I know it's gone up for sure. Nothing is cheap construction-wise these days. Siobhan says, stop panic buying. Yeah, I think some of you are just spending money just to be spending money. Strong Will asking about John. Haven't heard from him. You don't hear from him in a normal. But the one good thing, You know how he claims that he was allergic to the government building? Apparently, he went to the NEOC and caucus meeting yesterday, and day before. So he can't be that allergic if he could show up now. Maybe Julie put her foot down and say, you better get over your allergy to hard work and get your behind in here. I don't know. But anyway, $33 a sheet for plywood. That's the going price. Somebody was mentioning yesterday about price gouging from these construction workers. Y'all need to stop it. Whatever happened to our price gouging legislation? Has that been in place? I know they passed it, but I don't think it's ever been used. Lots of people, being taken advantage of right now as well. This person says, these fool Caymanians don't get it yet. They just politicking because it's election time. Well, I guess whatever. Some people are like, whatever it takes to get them to come by. So somebody's asking about the Savannah MP. I'm just telling y'all. This person says the number for the guy on Dump Road to purchase plywood for $23. What? Somebody got it on the cheap. Thank you for this. I'll share this. And this is, thanks. We got to save money. Yes, I love this. Hold on one second. Let me show you guys this message. Apparently, you can get it cheaper than $33. Don't take advantage of people. I hear that contractors are going out there, getting it with their discount and then marking it up and charging people an arm and a leg. That's not nice. And it should be illegal. So this is, apparently you can get it from a guy on Dump Road for $23. You can also get it from Cox Lumber in Bodden Town for $27, or the guy on Dump Road is $23. 949-6453. I don't know who he is, but Tom Sandy sent you from CMR for his $23 plywood. Is it all the same in terms of there's no different grade quality of plywood? I don't know. Sean Wilt says kaboom to John. John finally decides to show up to work. Ugh, what a hot mess. I'm not doing any plywood. One of these days, I got to see if I can't budget for shutters. But morning, can you please call Heather Bodden? I haven't seen her in my neighborhood since she was elected. Tried calling her, but of course, she's not answering. I will forward the message. Oh, you want me to call her now? Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I tell you what, I'm going to be very, very honest with you. A lot of these MPs do not know. That's one thing y'all can't touch Kenneth with. He knows how to get out there and be in the forefront. It's, boy, I don't know. Y'all just, Lord Jesus, y'all just don't get it. And it's a lot of work, to be fair to them, sort of. If they're a good MP, it is a lot of work. Because they've got their constituency responsibilities, and every single one of them wants to be a minister or a cabinet secretary. Not cabinet secretary, cabinet secretary is Mr. Sam. They want to be parliamentary secretaries, my apologies, and take on all these additional responsibilities at the ministerial and government level. So y'all need to get it together. That's not always easy. Shamar says Heather was out by the office yesterday giving out plywood. It can be a tough job. Shaka Zulu says, can't Cayman mandate hurricane impact windows and doors in their residential buildings? I think that's already the case, to be honest. I think aren't we required to use like double pane windows and windows of a certain quality in our building code? I think that's already the case. And I'm not going to go out there and put up any plywood. I can tell you all that now. That ain't happening. Keep your coconuts from my house. Shaka Zulu says, Sandy, you are the problem solvers. Thank God for you. Oh, thank you so much. So listen, what's in the cup? Miss Aline, did you see me enjoying this? Down to the last drop. I gotta have me some more, honey child. Miss Stacy has been making these smoothies. Oh my God. They're to die for. This is like a multiple fruit smoothie. It has mango, of course. Y'all know I don't eat ripe mango, but I'll drink it. So it has mango and banana, and I think apples. What else is in it? I don't know. One pile of good stuff, but it is delicious. Oh my God. Almond milk. I think she was telling me something about almond milk and something. Anyway, delicious. So that's what this one had. She brought this for me. That's my breakfast of champions this morning. McKeeva Bush trial is supposed to be starting today. The court hasn't said that they're going to be postponing anything for today, but probably tomorrow and Thursday, I suspect there might not be court. But we can't say nothing much about it because it is a jury trial. So let's just wait and talk about it afterwards. All I can say is what a hot mess. Yes, sir. Okay. Cassius says every year plywood is given out to the people. What in the hell do they do with the plywood afterwards? Professional poor people are just milking the system. Hello. Excuse me. Excuse me. Hold on. Cassius, I had to find that kaboom button. I do believe this is a serious problem. And I'm going to be honest with you, because some of y'all just love to beg it. And I didn't grow up with this beg it mentality. Listen, I don't know what kind of Caymanians we raise in these days, but, back in my day, and I'm saying that like I'm a little old lady, I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there, 50, I'm in the 50 club. Listen, my aunt would be like, you don't go around begging people for nothing. You're able-bodied. You're able to get up. You're able to work. What do you? And I was like, yeah. So I believe in working for what you want in life. I believe in hard work. She used to tell me hard work not kill nobody. And I still believe it. Laziness will kill you, though. I don't know, man. I don't get it. I just feel like a lot of our people are just falling into this mentality where they want handouts. And boy, I tell you, they are so picky. These are some of the poor people mentality. They come with a list of demands. And I'm like, oh, you want black box pizza, but yet you begging for food. You know what you should be having? A nice fresh apple, not even a pizza. These people are just ridiculous. When you're begging for food, the kids are so hungry. Can we get some black box pizza? No, because that's going to feed you once. What you need is a big bag of rice, some beans, things that, you can stretch multiple meals out of, a whole bag of chicken, a case of chicken. You can fry chicken, you can boil chicken, you can saute chicken, you can curry chicken, you can bake chicken, stew chicken. You can make so many different ways and you mix that up with a little bit of rice to give you some beans for protein. Stop begging. Learn how to be self-sufficient. Learn how to budget. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing it on your own. This handout mentality is just like, y'all take it to the next level. And I saw it during COVID with the quarantines. There were literally people during COVID flossing about, look at my new car I just imported in. Pretend like it was a new car. It was new to them, but Japanese importee, whatever. Still, I spent all kind. Let me tell y'all a story. I hate to pick on my little friend Andre, but he's such a perfect example of poor people mentality that it will get you every single time. Remember Andre spewing his nice fancy, what did he have? A Honda? What was it? A Honda? I don't even know. An Integra wannabe? I can't remember what it was. Some kind of Honda car. And sorry. Man, that car was the apple of his eye. He was in love with that car. You know how y'all get, you men, especially with your vehicles, Y'all love, oh man, that's my baby. Y'all give her names. You know what my uncle used to have his name? His car name back in the day, Betsy. Betsy's not a fancy. I'm sure y'all not naming your cars Betsy, but y'all got a nice name, call her Sheila or whatever. Was it an Audi? I can't even remember. He was trying to floss at some new to him car. Anyway, always putting up pictures. Oh, I'm washing my car. Look at my baby. I just got rims for her. I did that. And let me tell you how poor people think, right? So as a poor person myself, I've never really thought the way that he thinks, because my aunt always was very, very particular about, cleanliness is next to godliness. He obviously didn't get that memo. And there's a lot of other things, like, you know what I mean? All right. So at one point they had some space above what used to be Andy's Auto, like that building where Kim Airways, the old Kim Airways offices used to be. That space has been there, I think, kind of empty for a while. They leased it out, and then they were going to sublet individual offices. So we had worked out a little deal. I wasn't paying no money, but we were going to do a trade. They get some advertising, and, I get to use a little office space. Sometimes I need an office space in town because, I'm either sitting at the coffee shop all day or, I don't like to use up coffee shop space, especially if I'm not really there to buy your stuff. I'm just using your free internet and whatever. So we had arranged a little something. I used office space. They get a little bit of advertising. Good deal. Only lasted a few months because I can't take the BS. I'm going to be honest with you. Listen, sometimes I can be a very no nonsense person, and you're going to know when you're crossing the line with me. Because when you start to make certain advances towards me now that, me and you ain't got that kind of relationship, I'm going to be like, honey child, are you not a married man? I'm a married woman, and you're supposed to be a married man. Do not encroach on me in any particular kind of way, because this is just not going to work. Okay? This is story time. Gather around, children. It's story time. So he was trying to make certain little advances, and, there's certain people. Let me be very, very honest. You should never, Mr. George, I don't call you back, honey child. Story time, no phone calls during story time. There's certain people that you should never really approach me, because somebody said no calls. We like milk and water. It's not gonna work. Mr. George must be not listening to the show if he can't hear story time. No calls during story time. Okay. He keeps calling. So anywho, there were things that were making me very uncomfortable about the arrangement. Let me just leave it at that. And I was like, I'm not going to put myself. Mr. George, has the storm hit you already? Because it's story time and you keep calling like 10 times. Mr. George?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, good morning. I heard you say something just now. Yeah, a good question, and I told that on another radio station yesterday about what happens when after the hurricane season passed with the plywood. Mm-hmm. In my time, and I'm coming from those old folks, which this generation knows nothing about the arches, Elroy Arch and Jim Arch and them. What we do when you get the plywood and after you use it, you paint it with diesel oil. You make one side dry 3 and 4 days, and you turn it over and you paint the next side with diesel oil, and you make that dry out. In fact, the plywood would then seasoned out with diesel oil. Number one, that stops it from rotting very quickly. If you want to paint it white or whatever other colors you want, you can do it if you want. But what you do, people, when you use the plywood, paint it with diesel oil and put it up, and you got 15 to 20 years with that sheet of plywood.
Thank you,
Trust
sir.
me.
I appreciate that advice.
What
diesel
I
oil.
am telling you, I'm know what I'm talking about. I'm from the old school.
Thank you, my dear. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, good advice. I didn't know that. So there you go. Diesel oil, apparently. There might be something healthier that you could probably do with, but I don't know. Take it from Mr. George. He said he's from the old school. He knows how to preserve plywood. So let's get back to story time. No more calls during story time because y'all need to pay attention. So this is just to show you poor people mentality, right? You gotta be careful that we're all poor people to some extent, most of us, that you don't fall into constantly thinking like a poor person, because if you constantly think like a poor person, you will never get out of that rut. You got to start thinking like these rich people. Think like Johan. Rich person Johan. You know what people like him do? They don't spend no money. That's why he be trying to kill me off for my brownies, because he be eating them on the down low instead of spending money on real food. Cheap. He's very cheap. Pay attention to people like Johan. That's how you make moves. Okay. So listen. So anyway, it was an Audi, says Shamar. Okay, there you go. I can't remember. I just know it was silver and he was flossing about it. So one day I was talking to him, my husband and I were talking to him. He said, oh, you know, you've got this little bit of extra space here. I was thinking about a new business. COVID killed it, so it doesn't matter now. But anyway, we were thinking about a new business and we needed some additional space. And we were looking at some different ideas, yada, yada, yada. So we were talking to him and he says, okay, that's this price for this space. And I looked at him. Now, poor people oftentimes don't know the value of things. So I looked at him and I said, you want that for this little space? I said, that can't work. Well, if you can't afford it, then you see that Mercedes that you got? Maybe you should sell your Mercedes. I was like, what kind of donkey business is this? First of all, I didn't say that I couldn't afford it. What I said, brother, pay attention, is that isn't worth the rental price that you're asking. There is a difference. And I would be a poor person with stupid poor person mentality if I'm overpaying for something. So I was like, nobody said that I can't afford it. And the first thing you're gonna jump up on, poor people now, they think everybody else think like them, right? Just because I'm driving a Mercedes, you think that I'm driving a Mercedes and I don't have a roof over my head. Or, you know, I don't have other things in order because like you're trying to prioritize a vehicle first. No, Bobo. The vehicle is the last thing you worry about. Okay? Now, let me tell you how poor people really think. So I just kind of chuckled at him. I looked at my husband. I chuckled at him. I said, this isn't the kind of landlord that we would want in any event. Somebody who could say something like that to you. They're not thinking straight. So we're like, yeah, that's okay. We'll go find somewhere else. We found double the space for cheaper the price. All hours at the end of the day. But anyhow, so when COVID hit, I remember getting messages, Andre, oh yeah, see him on social media. We all got COVID and where's our MP? You know, we helped Barbara and David get elected. Now nobody's here for us. We abandoned Alric, because during the election, they told Alric that they couldn't work with him anymore because Barbara, the PPM, had put them on the payroll. Y'all can get a real reality check because this is poor people mentality and sellouts when it comes to election. PPM had put them on the payroll. So they said to Alric, oh, we can no longer work with you. Poor Alric, he's like, oh, okay. So then they were all Team Barbara and Team David. Guess who came to their call when they were during COVID lockdown? We not got no food. We not got this. I didn't have, of course, y'all know me now. I got to be salty about the situation. I'm like, hold on. I didn't have to sell no Mercedes during COVID. And I was still eating and plump as ever. When I got COVID, we were in lockdown. I didn't have to beg anybody to go bring me food. Y'all out there flossing in these streets, driving an Audi, putting all kind of spoiler kit on it, talking about how much money you have and how many businesses you have and this and that. And yet a little lockdown for 7 to 10 days and you don't have enough money to feed yourself. I thought to myself, this is crazy. This doesn't make any sense. But this is how our people operate and how our people think. And this will be the death of us all. Oh, well, you know, Sandy, hear this now. Had to get a loan to get the car, and all the extras that you saw in the car, I had to go to the bank and get a loan. I'm like, that is the worst. Those are the types of loans that banks should not give you for your own good. Of course, they can give it to you because they figure, well, if you fool enough to borrow $10,000, $15,000 to spruce up a used Audi, then if you pay it back with the 25, 30% interest, they're going to be making a lot of money. Well, that bank was foolish because guess what? defaulted on the loan. All of it is there on the court records. Defaulted on the loan, didn't make any payments, and then the bank was out of the money. And I'm still driving down my little Mercedes. Poor him. You see? You got to get your priorities straight. These are not the things that matter when you need emergency supplies, when you need food on the table. And then the worst part of it all, again, poor people mentality. You show up with a, did I show y'all his COVID list of what he wanted for food? Begging for gift certificates for fosters. And I said, no, we don't give out gift certificates, especially when you got a little problem with drugs. We don't know where the money can go. And we know that Barbara been giving y'all all these food cards and stuff. So, I'm going to send somebody grocery shopping. Tell me what you need. See the list. Steak is on the list. I don't even buy steak for myself when I'm poor. What the hell are you talking about? You begging somebody for food, but you can put on the list, but you want steak? You want hairspray? What the? Listen here. Hairspray is not a necessity. Y'all better slick that back with some Vaseline or some Vicks or something, or just water. Good old water. Look here. You just take a little bit of water and slick it back and you're good to go. I mean to tell you, the things I saw on that list, I'm like, these are not staple items. Rice, chicken, those are staple items. Beans, things that you can stretch, and you got protein, and they will fill your belly. When you ever had a big bowl of beans, other than making you go to the bathroom, that really fills you up. Protein, it's good for you. And then I see you sitting down the next week at Casanova's with all this food in front of you, flossing again. I said, how much? I'm confused. You just said you had no money to buy food for you and your family during the lockdown, like it was a national emergency, and you were trying to shame people and put it all over social media. Now, the following week, you out with everybody at with glass of wine and this and that at all these restaurants. Stop showing people how incredibly poor and stupid you are. That don't make no sense. The second you get $2, you run to the restaurant and spend it. Go buy a bag of rice. And some of you have children. Let me speak on your children now. I don't like to speak on children, but some of y'all need to do better with the children. You're teaching your children to be gluttonous. Poor people have to make do. Okay? You only got a little bowl. You got a family of 10. First of all, you shouldn't have so many children. You might not be poor. You have smaller groups. You can fend for yourself a little bit better. When you have all these children, that's more mouths to feed. Okay? 101, introduce birth control into your life. Because I know I can't tell y'all to abstain from sex, because God knows y'all not doing that. You get a little bowl. You have to be satisfied with this. Some of y'all are force feeding your children. What is it called? Those ducks that they force feed. What are they called again? For agua? Force fed ducks. What is it called? Oh God, I think it's the foie gras or whatever. It's very, very cruel. They force feed, there's actually a group of people as well where they force feed women. They give them like lard, like straight fat, because in this culture, somewhere in the Middle East, they love big women to their own detriment. The women are unhealthy. They don't want them to move. They just sit there and pump them full of lard. In that culture, if you're skinny, you're not desirable by the men. They don't want you. Some of y'all are doing that to your children. You're force feeding them, stretching out their poor little stomachs where they never get satisfied. When you give them a plate of food, it's like so much food on the plate. You better finish everything on your plate. So when they sit down to eat, they're already obese. Childhood obesity is a real thing in this community and all over the world. And they're already obese, and y'all are making it worse. So when times are tight, things are lean. I had this conversation. I can tell you all this because I had the conversation with Andre. I said, Andre, listen, we all go through tough times. Nobody is going to talk about the fact that you're going through tough times. It'll probably be the decisions that got you there that we might talk about. Foie gras. So, but one of the conversations you need to have with everybody is be honest with your children. Things are not mom and daddy, don't no longer have these cushy jobs that we thought we had. We don't have all this money coming in. So things have got to give. One of the things that has got to give is our diet. We can eat healthy, smaller portions, but when you can sit down and go for seconds and thirds, Daddy can't afford that lifestyle anymore. And so we're going to put you, little baby girl, we're going to put you on a little diet. And there's nothing wrong with that. Right? Portion control is a really good thing to have, especially as children. Anyway, Miss Aline says semen has no specific class, rich or poor. Trust me. But yes, I mean, let's try to encourage our people not to fall into the trap, especially during hurricane season now, of being poor in our heads, because that translates, right? Stop buying, going out, y'all partying this weekend, and then turn around now and, oh yeah, I don't have no money. You're buying $200 costumes to go to, what's the name of that thing y'all had this weekend? K-Mass. It's not necessary. All kind of liquor and drinks. We're going to talk about the fight tomorrow on tomorrow's show that apparently went down between women over some no good man at K-Mass. We'll get to that tomorrow. Somebody just says, do you have any canned food I can get from you? Please let me know. No, is the short answer. I don't buy canned food for everybody. I buy enough for my little home and that's it. Start planning. Today is Tuesday. The storm is going to be here Thursday. Why are you asking about canned food today? And it's the same people all the time. I tell you. This person says, Sandy, is your radio airtime still until 10:30? I thought the show will end. No, today we're going till 10. But yes, it's normally 9:30. That's right. I just asked for a little bit of overtime this morning. All right, folks. It going up to 170 miles per hour, this storm, honey child. Somebody said these licky people, and I bet you the mean, selfish ones when the hurricane need to take out K-Man, tell them your Benz is parked in the garage, not in front. People rental place. Well, I don't actually have a garage, and I'll tell you, it's more of a safety concern. But when we purchased the house, it did not have a garage. So the construction company is still filling bags, Sandy. They're collecting sand for their own benefit. What? First of all, they have a limit on how many bags you can get. But you see, this is the problem now. People taking advantage of the system. My God. Oh. Oh my God. Y'all wait for that post. Hi, Sandy. Can you ask anyone on the feed if they can help me out? I had someone fixing my roof from the last rain and they fell off the roof and injured his ankle. He fell yesterday. What? So you need help with the roof? You need a new roofer? Oh my gosh. I hope he's okay. Oh my, what a hot mess. Yeah, that's the other thing. Y'all need to be careful when you're doing repairs and stuff like that. Denise, Morning Beryl is a common female name in Jamaica. Every Jamaican woman that's named Beryl are troublemakers. Always creating problems. Ask any decent Jamaican. The Beryls are always in trouble. Good morning, sis. I've never heard of Beryl before, to be honest. Not really. Oh, somebody's asking if I have any radios yet left. I think I do. I be leaving them for y'all, then y'all don't go pick them up. But I think I do. I'll double check. All right, so I'll check on that. You can beg me for radios as long as I got any in stock. Someone needs help putting up some plywood in the back of her house. Help a widow. She has the wood and also has the tracks. So just shouldn't take long. If you can, it'd be amazing and deeply appreciated. So anybody that can help this senior lady there off of Shamrock Road, put up some plywood, let me know. Shamrock runs quite a ways, so let me know exactly where that is. Let me see. So no more calls from him. $200 now, $800 now. What? Are y'all lying? Costumes for K-Mass were $800. Them little string bikini things that y'all were wearing? You're kidding me. Who in their right mind would pay for that? Are you kidding? Them little string of things could cost so much money? Oh my God. Now y'all, no wonder y'all broke. $200 now, $800 and up. Some were $950. T-shirt section was $250. Wait a minute. You're not paying for this. What, you're paying a price to do what? Get drinks or what? That's just the price of the costumes? Are y'all kidding me? Oh my God, that's... No wonder y'all can't get any that cover you up, because that might be $1,200, $1,500. No wonder you're half naked at the carnival. Lord Jehovah. 170 miles per hour wind. Hurricane. What's the hurricane called, honey chill? All right, we got a message from the governor that we're going to play. She issued a message yesterday. I'll play that for you guys here. We also have the latest update from our weatherman. We're trying to get in contact with him. I love me, the weatherman. So we'll see exactly what he's saying. Can I get a radio, please? I'll pay for it. You don't have to pay for it. Couldn't find any on Saturday. Oh, radio shortage? You see, had I thought about it, I could have ordered some more radios. But anyway, I think we have a few left. Y'all want to make sure you can listen to Bobo. All right. And these are cute because you charge them up and they'll last a good long time. Okay. So we set up on Facebook on you pay for the road experience. Must be them fights that y'all paying for. So we've set up a CMR news channel on WhatsApp. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm new to the whole news channel thing, but we set it up. It does have some benefits over the notification list, which we had in place before. So I think that eventually we're going to switch. I know that eventually we will switch to just channels. There's no limit, whereas the notifications list, there's like a 256 person limit. So I have like 4 or 5 lists I'm constantly trying to send messages to. So eventually those will be phased out. I have my designer working on the, we have a barcode that you can scan to join the list. I'm going to put that up on social media a little bit later on. So please have a look out for that. Join the list. That's where we'll send you everything that happens, all the traffic notifications, everything that happens in CMR, stuff that's posted on the website, especially during the storm now. Of course, we'll provide news and stuff there. Paul says that's a starting price, honey child. No, sir. Oh my God. Jonathan just made me laugh. We can't say that on radio. I'll read that after 10 o'clock. Oh my God, Johan, stop asking for brownies. Speaking of people who like to beg. Oh, Johan is begging for brownies today. Shall we make him a batch? Speaking of food, Tish, big shout out to Ms. Paula. She made me a beautiful chocolate mousse cake for Trish for her birthday over the weekend. So congratulations, honey chow. Happy birthday. I think she's 48 now. Hope you enjoyed it. And the cake looked good, I must admit. I could do with a slice later on. So let me know if you still got some birthday cake. Symphony of the Sea says it's a cultural thing, even in India. So far, I've not seen people burying their children up to their necks in sand and force feeding them KFC. What is wheel? W-E-E-L? What is that? At least not the sand part. What? 60 miles per hour winds for us. All right. So the latest forecast for us is it's going to come close, but it's still going to be far enough where hopefully it's not going to be too crazy. So we're looking at, hold on one second. Let me just see. Oh gosh, where's the, I think the closest point it will come is, and again, this is going to change a little bit, so don't hold anybody to this, because, you know, the storm is still very much in flux. But they're saying that the closest point of approach, called the CPA, is located basically about 61.9 miles or 99.6 kilometers from Grand Cayman. And the estimated time where the center of the hurricane will be at the closest location is about 52 hours and 13 minutes from this morning. And that was that's going to be at July the 4th around 8:36 a.m. Tomorrow, we'll have some better indicators of that. And so naturally, we will bring you additional updates there as well. So sit back, listen to the message from the governor radio folks. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. So just to clarify, show is now technically 7:30 to 9:30. We'll go into a little bit overtime some days for sure. Andrew says they must be really good. Yeah, you know, Johan tries a little trick with us. He pretends like the brownies are not any good. That's why he keeps referring to them as dry up brownies, because they're quite the opposite. So he figures if he says that enough, none of y'all will be asking for any, and then he'll get all the brownies. Darcy is asking for plywood that I can borrow if I need it. Honey child, you don't borrow plywood. You're going to take it and you're going to save it for the next storm. Okay? So if you don't have it now, and I don't think people are in the borrowing business, it's not like you can borrow it for a day and then give it back, because no, not to be funny, but if they have plywood, they're going to need it right now for themselves. So, so yeah, that might be a thing. So just get some plywood. People might be able to give you some. What area are you in, out of curiosity? All right, so tell us an area. If you're in Boddentown, we'll get a number for Chris Saunders. Siobhan says, I used to ask for brownies, but stopped. Why? Because he's always talking about it's, you know, I'm not a professional baker or anything, but Boddentown. All right, call Chris Saunders. Chris Saunders is giving out truckloads of it so he can get you some plywood. Now, Darcia, you want to preserve the plywood apparently with, what did he say again? Anyway, I'll get the information. You don't have to buy plywood every storm. We're going to get, this is only July the 2nd. More of this is going to happen this year than in previous times, recent times. This is going to be a really bad hurricane season. Don't throw down your plywood afterwards. Keep it, store it securely if you can, put it in a back room or whatever. There's treatments that you can put on it. That's what you want to do. All right, folks, here's a message from the governor this morning.
I want to reassure residents across all our islands that preservation of life and the protection of property is the utmost concern of our government. This morning, the National Hazard Management Executive, which I co-chair with Honourable Premier, met to decide on further activations that might be required in order to ensure the safety of all. As we all face potential impact from Hurricane Beryl, I can truly see the resilience of the people of our islands, and I'm confident that together we will be prepared to face whatever the storm may bring. I can also assure you that the UK stands ready to assist and support us should the situation escalate. I've already heard from so many people who've experienced the effects of tropical storms and hurricanes before, and they all tell me how important preparedness is. I'm therefore urging everyone to use this time to complete your storm preparations if you haven't done so already. And let's all remember to assist and check on vulnerable neighbours, family and friends. Let's make sure as well that we're going to drive safely when we're out and about, finalising our hurricane readiness plans. While I've been making my own plans, I've also been given some rather useful tips which I'm trying to remember myself. First of all, write down emergency phone numbers and keep them stored in the telephone and emergency supply kits. Secondly, identify your nearest shelter and the different routes you might need to take to get there from your home. If you're a pet owner, you should pre-identify pet-friendly shelters. And because we're expecting some significant wave action, those people who own a boat should make sure they are docked safely or removed from the water and battened down, and that needs to happen within the next 24 hours. And finally, ensure that you have batteries for radios and flashlights in case we suffer any loss of power. Honourable Premier and I will continue to work with key government agencies, including our National Weather Service and Hazard Management Cayman Islands, to closely monitor the development and path of Hurricane Beryl. Please do continue to follow our official channels for all of your weather updates. In closing, I am confident that all residents of the Cayman Islands will rise to the occasion as they have always done. Please stay safe, everyone.
All right, so message from the governor's office there, again, showing the importance of this. Kamathi asking about these shark oil barometers. No, I've never heard of it till Paul mentioned it. Was it Paul that mentioned it earlier? So I don't even know what that is. I don't think it's a thing here. Dominique says, I'm going to start, make me want to taste those brownies. I'm going to start requesting it. Siobhan said she gave up. Oh, honey child, if I had all the time in the day, I would just be baking, nothing else. Baking and cooking all day long. All right, I have to read this one because this is so hilarious. Jonathan says, because we're now off radio. Let me just click off just to make sure. I don't want off Red calling me. Jonathan says $800 for Punani floss. Mommy said stupid is as stupid does. I'm telling you, Jonathan, this is exactly what happens in terms of penny wise, and they're begging for canned food because they waste money and foolishness like that. I mean, I'm I get it. Y'all want to have your little carnival fun, whatever. But $800+ for a costume, $950 for an experience. What are you experiencing exactly? Being drunk? I mean, can't you experience that after a couple beers anyway? No, sir. Not me, honey child. Anyway, let's go check in with Brian Shields, our weatherman from this morning. Again, take this storm seriously, folks. Prepare for what is it within your control. There'll be things that are not within your control, but do prepare for what you can.
Thank you for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields, and thank you for being part of this channel. The news did not get better overnight. Jamaica, we could see a direct hit from Hurricane Beryl. So I want to get into that. A look at the Cayman Islands. Of course, we're thinking of our friends that took a direct hit. St. Vincent the Grenadines down through Grenada, some of our islands and other areas of damage as well. We're not losing sight of you. We're thinking of you this morning, but also looking ahead to where this is going. Right now, winds are 165 miles per hour or 265 kilometers an hour. That would correlate to some gust over the open waters around 200 miles per hour or 320 kilometers an hour. It is feeding off of the very warm water, the heat content. If you joined me all winter long, that was my biggest concern for the upcoming season. And I'll get into that in a moment, but I want to get into the immediate concern as this continues to work its way toward Jamaica. Haiti and the Dominican Republic, I'm watching us for those rain bands working in, but still on track from what we've been talking about the last few days. It's going to be to the south already is of Puerto Rico, and it will be just south of Haiti and the DR. But Jamaica, we need to be where you need to be at sunset today. Tomorrow morning, it still may be okay in some spots, but then it goes downhill quickly. So best to be where you need to be in Jamaica by this evening to ride out this hurricane. It won't quite look like this. There'll be a different form of this. I'll show you that in a second. Cayman Islands by tomorrow night. So sunset Wednesday evening. You want to be where you need to be for this system. Cayman Islands, all of this has shifted a little bit to the north, and I'll show you that. And that's why we could see even more impacts back through the Cayman Islands. So here is a powerful Beryl right now. The area behind it, that's some good news. It did weaken. I'm not really expecting development out of that for us in the Eastern Caribbean. That will bring some increased rainfall. But here's the very latest, and you see the winds right now. 165 miles per hour, and I mentioned those higher gusts in this system. In Jamaica now, we have hurricane warnings up. It is going to be closer or a direct hit later tomorrow. Can't stress that enough. We are making those hurricane preparations all day in Jamaica, and then this evening we need to be where we need to be. The Cayman Islands, we have hurricane watches up. We could see even some tropical storm to hurricane conditions now in the Cayman Islands with a shift north. That's slightly better news for areas like Honduras, watching everyone, and Belize, but this will be close to Belize, but should be over toward Mexico by the time we work our way into the end of the weekend, the upcoming weekend. Haiti and the DR, the Dominican Republic, Santo Domingo, we're still under those tropical storm warnings. Same thing over toward Jacmel as you get over toward Haiti. But again, the worst weather stays offshore. I am going to watch out for some flooding. I'll break down the rain totals in just a moment for my friends in the Dominican Republic and Haiti. But you can see these squiggly lines. They're a little bit more to the south. I was talking about in yesterday's video, we've seen a little more shift to the north. These squiggly lines come right on top of Jamaica or just to the south. Now, these systems are not aligned, right? So again, it's not just a small system. You saw how big this system is, right? Beryl is huge. So anywhere, any one of these lines that would bring us hurricane conditions now to Jamaica. So we're not escaping this, and that's why we're making the prep safety first, and we hope for the best. Hopefully we get a shift as we go through the day to the south or something like that. But as of now, seeing this dangerous hurricane that will be heading closer. Now, this is a map of those squiggly lines and the strength of this system. Right now, it's really not even on the chart. This is even stronger now than what the models are showing. And that's why I don't just look at the models. I look at what's going on, the environmental conditions. Now, over the next day or two, we are going to see some slight weakening out of this. But that's also tricky. When you say we're in Jamaica and we hear, hey, the storm is weakening. That may be accurate, but it's to a degree. We're talking about winds of 165 miles per hour right now. We'll see a little bit of weakening as it approaches. I'm hoping for more. There is some wind shear that could help us out. I'll get into that in a moment. But again, this is going to be a hurricane that is moving into Jamaica. So I'm going to zoom down in a second even closer. Here's Cuba. Cuba, worse weather stays to the south, Turks and Caicos as well. Haiti and the Dominican Republic, some rain bands that will be working in. Very high seas, southern end of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. This is tomorrow morning, and then you see the conditions quickly going downhill. So you may wake up to some sun in some spots tomorrow morning in Jamaica, or at least brighter skies. And then this will be working in through the day in Jamaica with what looks like now a direct hit from Beryl, and then working its way toward the Cayman Islands. There we go in eastern Cuba. We will get rain out of this because of the shift to the north, worse weather to the south, and then either hurricane or tropical storm conditions in the Cayman Islands. It gets tricky there because if we get a direct hit, if the eye moves right over Jamaica, of course, that is land. We'd have a little weakening, a little more weakening as this moves toward the Cayman Islands. So it's kind of a wait and see for us. I'm going to break it down specifically in a moment. Here's a closer look. This is later today at 5 o'clock. We are good in Jamaica today. And you can see Treasure Beach over toward Kingston, watching Falmouth. Now, as we go through tomorrow morning, we may still be okay in the morning, but we need to be where we need to be tonight because quickly as we go through the day, conditions go downhill. We're going to see a big storm surge moving in. My friends in Barbados, this system stayed to the south of us yesterday, and we have all sorts of damage right in Barbados on the southern coast, and that's the issue with the storm surge. It's far-reaching. Jamaica, you can see by 5 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to see these hurricane conditions that will be moving in. This is the eye of it. This is the American model. The European model has the eye right about here, but either way, very close, moving right across Jamaica, working our way through. This is 7 o'clock tomorrow evening with the hurricane conditions through 11 o'clock. By 11, at least it's moving. It's not a slow system, so at least it's moving, and then it will start to work our way as we get into tomorrow night and work its way toward the Cayman Islands. So that's a closer look for us at Jamaica. I'm going to zoom down as well to some of the rain totals. So here are the Cayman Islands. Here we are in the Big Island. Here we are in Jamaica. Here is Haiti as you get over toward Port-au-Prince, eastern end of Cuba. You can see here. Now, one thing with this model with the winds, it's it's underdone. This is a model. It's not doing so great. It's not picking up on how strong it is right now. It shows this kind of red and yellow shading, which would be the hurricane winds moving into Jamaica. Models sometimes get a little confused with land interaction, and you can see there will be some weakening, as I mentioned, but again, the hurricane working in later tomorrow. Still good to be where you need to be tonight. Can't stress that enough. No, I'm repeating myself, but this is important stuff as we work our way through the tomorrow into tomorrow evening. You see some blue in there. You say, hey, blue's not bad on the scale, but with that, we're going to see very, very strong winds. Models sometimes struggle when it comes to land, and then working its way toward the Cayman Islands by the time we get into tomorrow night and Thursday, hurricane or tropical storm conditions in the Cayman Islands by the time we get into Thursday morning. So this is a look here on the broader picture. So you can pick a spot where you are: Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. Here's Belize, Mexico, Cayman Islands, Jamaica. There are those rain bands working in, taking out in time today, stopping the clock by the time we get into tomorrow morning. We're okay in Jamaica, so to speak. The seas are going to be a mess. And then later, as the day goes on in Jamaica tomorrow, the hurricane will be working in. You can see this here. That's that spot back behind it, by the way, that I'm not seeing development, but we are going to see an uptick in the rain over toward Dominica, for example, tomorrow, and Barbados. Then the hurricane moves in later in the day on Wednesday into Jamaica. And you see the spillover of rain, Haiti back through Cuba, the Bahamas. This is staying to the south. And then the hurricane works its way toward the Cayman Islands. At this point, either a tropical storm or hurricane. I mentioned I am not sure. It depends on if the center of this rolls right over Jamaica or not. If it stays over the water, it'll stay a little bit stronger. If it moves over Jamaica, eventually some weakening. And then the system, whatever it is at this point, a lot of uncertainty down the road, which is common. Tropical storm or hurricane moving closer to Mexico. The shift to the north, a little helpful for Belize, but we don't wish this on anyone, but we do count our blessings where it doesn't go. You see back toward Mexico, it looks like anywhere near Cancun, back just across the Yucatan on Friday, especially as we get into Thursday night and the first half of Friday. Looks like a tropical storm or a hurricane working in. And then what happens in the Gulf, some uncertainty. This moisture may swing up toward Texas or back toward the rest of Mexico. With that said, it would be in different form. And then you can see the increased rain, but not seeing any organization out of this by the time we get into Friday, that second area back behind it. So where is it headed? Well, tomorrow it's headed to Jamaica. We're still in monitor mode. Haiti and the Dominican Republic. It's not going to shift into our direction, but we are going to see that flood threat. Please watch out for those river crossings, especially that bigger one right near Jacmel. If we get some of that runoff, we could get some significant river flooding. That could be a life-threatening situation in parts of Haiti. Southern areas, same thing over toward the Dominican Republic. This is moving toward Jamaica, so we are in action mode. Major impacts are getting more and more possible, if not likely. We need to finish the preparations today, and then we're in place as we work our way into tomorrow night. Now, this map I've been switching overnight. It looks Belize up through the Yucatan of Mexico. It is good to be in action mode for a tropical storm or a hurricane. It won't be as strong as it is now. With that said, as I mentioned, some of the uncertainty, depending on how it interacts with Jamaica, we're in action mode. Not so much anymore in Honduras because of the shift to the north. That's been helpful. But Mexico back through Belize, still in action mode. What we would need to do if a tropical storm or hurricane moves in. Mexico, again, more and more likely, Cozumel, you get back toward Cancun, of getting at least tropical storm conditions or hurricane conditions Thursday night into Friday. Keep an eye on the wind shear, which I'll show you in a second. So here's the European model, and you can see the system right in here. Here's Puerto Rico, and this is later today. So again, it's not coming to Puerto Rico. The core, the middle of it, stays south of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Here's Jamaica, Cayman Islands, back through Mexico, Belize. Here's Honduras, and you can see this area here is what I'm watching. Now, to the north of all this, high pressure has been the dominant feature. All you need to know about that is it acts like a fence, a barrier. That's why I mentioned the Bahamas. This is not coming our way. This is going to be to the south. These little fronts clip by, but they just kind of move by. High pressure is the dominant feature. So this is later today. Let's go out in time and we'll work our way into tomorrow morning. This is tomorrow morning and then working our way through the day. So I mentioned in Jamaica, looks could be deceiving tomorrow morning. May be okay to start, and then conditions go downhill. A European model has a hurricane has now a direct hit or very close by of a hurricane moving in. We're not escaping hurricane impacts in Jamaica. We're making those preps and we're going to be safe through this, and we'll get through it. We'll get to the other side. We've dealt with things before many times, and we'll see this working in as a hurricane to Jamaica. And then this is as we get into a Thursday morning, very close to the Cayman Islands. We'll see if all of it moves into the Cayman Islands or more of it's just to the south. But at this point, the European and the American model still has it as a hurricane very close to the Cayman Islands. That's why we're making the preps in the Cayman Islands, and we're in place by tomorrow night. And then this system works its way toward the Yucatan. And this is late in the day on Thursday. Here's Honduras, thinking of my islands too, always watching San Andres over toward Providencia, our Colombian islands over here. And then this starts to work into the Yucatan as what looks like a hurricane by the time we get into Friday, especially Thursday night into Friday. So Belize, we are on the edge of it. It may stay to the north. I'm not certain. So Belize, we're taking the preps. Always best to be safe, right? We know we've had a history of these things. Mexico, we're definitely getting those preps done. The Yucatan of Mexico for this system moving in. And then eventually it will reemerge into the western Gulf of Mexico. At that point, it could be a totally different system with the interaction of land, but it still could be a tropical storm or a hurricane in the Bay of Campeche. And then it may move into Mexico, or a front up to the north may try to drag it a little bit closer up toward Texas. So Texas down through Mexico proper, keeping an eye on what's left of this, which still could be a hurricane. This here is by Sunday. So you see kind of a long haul situation we're seeing out of this. This is the problem now. This is the heat content. The water is not just warm. The water is more August, almost September-like. We know that. It's very warm. Water didn't drop off. Water temps didn't drop off as much this winter. But you see these pockets right now, this red showing up right near Jamaica, just south of Haiti and the Dominican Republic, exactly where Beryl is going. That is high heat content. That means the water is very warm, and even down below the surface, it's also very warm. So as the hurricane just churns up the water, sometimes you get cool water coming up, and that helps out. These things feed off of the very warm water, but in this case, high heat content. So the very warm water still comes up. There's just warm water all over the place, and it feeds off of that. And that's why it is so strong right now. That's why it's even stronger than the computer models have been showing. It is the warm water temperatures and the high heat content. It has so much to feed off of. So I mentioned the battle between the high heat content and the wind shear. This is by tomorrow as this hurricane moves into Jamaica. There is some wind shear around. I'm hoping the wind shear weakens it. Winds would be coming across up above our heads, knocking off some of the thunderstorm tops. So we should see a little weakening. But I just showed you that high heat content, so it has other things to fuel off of. There's so many ingredients when we get into the hurricane season. So Jamaica, and this is kind of the, as of now, the worst weather, the timing of this would be tomorrow. But again, spread the word in Jamaica. I'm a little nervous that some folks in Jamaica, a few of them that may not watch this channel, may wake up tomorrow and say, hey, what hurricane? Thought it was coming on Wednesday. Tomorrow morning, for the most part, will be okay, and then conditions will be going downhill. So thank you for spreading the word across Jamaica to get that out. Winds, 190 kilometers an hour or 120 miles per hour. Now, it's going to be a little bit different in different spots with our terrain. Eastern end will be a little bit worse than the western end. We're also going to see that storm surge, especially eastern and southern end. That's a rise in the water that will cause all sorts of coastal flooding and the potential of damage along the coast. Rain, 100 millimeters, 4 inches of rain plus, but the surge is the biggest concern along the coast, the coastal flooding, and then again, those very high winds. Jamaica, a hurricane is headed our way. We get back toward the Cayman Islands. A lot is going to hinge on if this moves directly over Jamaica or stays over the open waters. As of now, tropical storm to hurricane conditions in the Cayman Islands. We're going to be in place by tomorrow evening in the Cayman Islands. This will start to work in tomorrow night and especially overnight, and then Thursday morning with winds around 95 kilometers an hour or 60 miles per hour. If the core of this stays together more so over the water, the winds can be higher than this. I express the uncertainty. I'll let you know what I know and what I don't know. There is uncertainty, but either way, it almost doesn't matter because we're making the preps and we're going to be safe. And hopefully it's better news. And hey, it wasn't as bad as we thought or it could have been. I'll take that, but I just want you safe on that. We're in action mode. Just want you safe to begin with, and then we'll see what happens. As long as we're safe, whatever the storm does or doesn't do, we'll be fine in the end. Belize, right now, I've down the winds 70 kilometers an hour, 45 miles per hour. Northern Belize. Most of this has shifted to the north, so still kind of a wait and see in Belize. The Yucatan of Mexico, though, hurricane conditions are now possible. Winds of 120 kilometers an hour, 75 miles per hour. And this is as we work our way into Thursday night into Friday. And we'll be fine-tuning that once this kind of rolls past Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. Now, as far as the rain goes, the rain also, this is a computer model, has a little bit of trouble with terrain sometimes. You can see the core of heavy rain just to the south, but we get some of that spillover at the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Please keep me posted. We have many subscribers from the Dominican Republic and Haiti on this channel. Let me know if you do get any of those rain bands working in. Leave where you may see some of the rise in the flooding. And then Jamaica, I mentioned some of the higher totals. Here's a look at Jamaica, especially the eastern end. See the black, 150 millimeters of rain or 6 inches of rain. That would be over toward our eastern end. But the blacks here quickly jumps to the red, which is off my scale, which would be even higher totals. So eastern end, higher rain totals. But point being, all of us, we've got those hurricane conditions moving in. And then the Cayman Islands, the core of heavy rain. You see this black shading in here. Could be around 150 millimeters or 6 inches of rain, but this is a model, maybe a little bit more to the north, heaviest rain maybe a little bit more to the south, but tropical storm to hurricane conditions, we're not escaping it with something in the Cayman Islands. Today is a preparation day. So you see the swath of some rain that will be working in, trekking in with this. And that disturbance, by the way, that looks like it's not developing back behind us. That will bring us some increased rainfall as we get into later this week. I'll get into that with the forecast. And then eventually some of this rain will move toward the Yucatan Peninsula, watching out for some isolated storms and some flooding. Costa Rica, Panama, we've had some flooding the last few days, and of course some additional flooding as we work our way back toward Mexico itself with some higher rain totals. Now, looking at these wave heights, here's meters. We've got feet on the right-hand side, but there's a hurricane out there. It is a major hurricane. It is the strongest hurricane this early on record in the Atlantic basin. That's crazy. So again, the seas are a mess. I don't need to really spell it out for you. If you're familiar with boating, you're one of our sailors, you're just getting away from this system. It is running stronger than everything the models have been seeing. And you see the wave heights. This is by the time we get into Thursday. So tomorrow, Thursday, Jamaica, Cayman Islands, that big swell surge there, and a little bit more over toward the Eastern Caribbean too, with that other tropical disturbance moving in. And then as we work our way into Friday, we'll see things building in the Western Gulf over toward the Bay of Campeche. So Jamaica, later in the day tomorrow, conditions go downhill quickly. We have a hurricane headed in. I'll be monitoring the comments as we go throughout the day. Just be safe. We'll make the preps. We'll be where we need to be tonight, and then we will get through this. I'm thinking of those that are alone. If you ride, think of your friends and neighbors that may be alone. If you could check in on them, or maybe take them in as we go throughout the storm into better shelter locations, that would always be best. It's always great to look out for each other. It's really a time that we come together. We just saw that over towards St. Vincent the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, St. Lucia, even where it didn't hit, worst weather states south of Dominica, everyone was really coming together. Cayman Islands, it's really late tomorrow night into Thursday, the tropical storm and hurricane conditions moving in. Now we'll get a little uptick in the rain tomorrow, Trinidad and Tobago. That's that tropical disturbance moving in behind Beryl, but not seeing anything in the way of it developing now into a tropical storm. But you see the increased rain in St. Lucia, and many of us are dealing with the cleanup. Grenada, higher chance of rain tomorrow. Still seeing the scenes. Thank you, my friends, leaving the comments. St. Vincent the Grenadines, rain chance bumps up for tomorrow. We get about a 70% chance in Martinique tomorrow with the tropical disturbance sliding by. And in Dominica, also looking at a 70% chance for tomorrow. 30% chance today in Guadeloupe. 60% chance for tomorrow. Rain chance 30 to 40%. Antigua and Barbuda still need to get a little more rain, northeastern Caribbean, but the rain chance does pick up some with that tropical disturbance moving in. We will see that rain chance even bumping up some. Anguilla and St. Bart, so I'm hoping we get some rain. Rain chance increases on Thursday. St. Martin, Saba, and Statia up to about a 50% chance. And we get back through Puerto Rico, 50% chance today. Kind of the influence of Beryl being nearby will throw some showers and storms into our direction at times. That easterly flow. U.S. and British Virgin Islands seas are definitely elevated with Beryl to the south. With that said, all of this, the core of this staying down to the south. Same thing for the Bahamas. Bahamas, we have a 40% chance, about a 20% chance of seeing some passing showers, some fast-moving showers, just the influence of what we're seeing with Beryl to the south. Dominican Republic, I've been highlighting us over toward Haiti. Southern ends, the higher rain chance for today and that flood potential. And then Belize, we're simply watching the end of the week as of now. It's been better news in Belize. Aruba, it's trying to get some rain out of something. Just some passing showers possible. About a 30% chance Aruba, Curacao, over toward Bonaire. Guyana, scattered areas of rain and storms. 50 to 60% chance in Guyana. Suriname as well. We're looking at about a 50 to 60% chance the next 3 days. Now, in Cuba, the eastern end, because as I was showing you, Beryl has shifted more to the north, we will get some rain out of this, favoring our eastern end. Costa Rica, Panama, 60 to 70% chance of rain. We've been seeing some flooding, 30 to 40% chance the next couple of days in Nicaragua. And then as we get toward Honduras, it looks like more of this action with Beryl will be staying to the north, but watching it carefully. Guatemala and El Salvador, we'll see some scattered rain and storms, 60 to 70% chance of rain in Mexico City, and watching out for that flood potential. Yucatan, all eyes on the end of the week with the potential of hurricane impacts coming in. Colombia, 30 to 40% chance of rain, and about a 30 to 40% chance in northern Venezuela. And we swing back toward Bermuda. We've got some tail ends of fronts moving in. That'll bring us the chance of some rain and storm. So Beryl is headed to Jamaica. It'll start to work in through the day tomorrow. Again, it may be okay when we wake up tomorrow morning and then conditions go downhill. It's more and more likely that we get a direct hit, and it is definitely more likely we are getting hurricane impacts out of this. The track is pretty much locked in for the most part, give or take a little bit. The uncertainty lies with the intensity of this because of those very warm pockets of water in the Caribbean. Cayman Islands will have the impacts coming just after Jamaica. The shift to the north will bring this closer to the Yucatan of Mexico by the end of the week. Better news for Honduras. This may be just to the north of Belize, but I'll be fine-tuning that. So it's an awful start to July in the tropics, but we'll go storm by storm. Thank you for being part of this weather community. That's what it's about. I'm watching stuff all day. I forecast all day long, and I just keep an eye on it to see if there's any big changes. But the point being, Cayman Islands, we're prepping. We're in place by tomorrow evening. Jamaica, hurricane preparations throughout the day. They're done later today, and then we are in place. We need to be where we need to be by sunset, and then conditions as we go through the day tomorrow will go downhill with the hurricane moving in. We are all thinking of you. We'll be watching this nonstop. Thank you for being part of this weather community. Be safe and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.